Welcome to the setbreakerpod podcast. Today we got the homie Saint Yim.
Hello.
Saint Yim. We met through our bro Brian Pham,
yes,
who is the co-founder of Asian Hustle Network, and you make funny skits. You got like 430.
Funny is a stretch.
So you make sus videos, a lot of sus videos.
Sus and cologne.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed you wore cologne.
Yeah, I love cologne. I don't know when it's actually. I do know where it started, but I don't know when it got to the point where I was like, I actually want to get more and more and more.
Are you like legitimately like into cologne? Like you are, huh?
I just like the smell, but I don't collect them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I have a lot. Don't get me wrong, but like I'm not like, when's the next release of like some fucking brand? Oh, am I allowed to curse?
Dude, come on. Come on. Yeah.
Fuck.
Duh.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not like, oh, when's the next fucking release of like whatever fucking brand? Like I'm not.
Yeah.
No, if it's just like I hear about it and I smell it and I like it, I'm like, because at the end of the day, most girls like, yeah, there are some colognes that like girls really like, but at the end of the day, it's just whether or not you smell good.
Yeah.
To most people.
Period.
They're not gonna be like. Like, or actually no, that is a reaction sometimes, but they're not gonna be like, oh, are you wearing Chanel or like,
yeah.
you know, like
Gio,
Aqua de Gio.
Yeah, Aqua
that's
de
like
Gio.
the super. That's like a really common one.
Yeah, the one that everybody wears.
Yeah.
I used to wear Curve.
Curve Crush.
Yeah, Curve.
I've heard about that.
Most people were wearing just regular Curve, and when I discovered Curve Crush, I was like, yo, this like fits with my body chemistry.
I've never actually smelled it.
Dude, it smelled pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I wish I still had it. I don't. Like
someone told me to like, oh, you should get it. I'm like, I'm not. First of all, I'm not in that tax bracket where I'm just gonna drop money because a viewer told me to like go like, can you buy this? Like, I appreciate it, but maybe one day when I'm like at that level where I can just buy it.
Yeah,
but I'm not.
Just because you can, and say, look, I have it here, and you never wear it.
Yeah, I just happen to have it. Like all my recommendations are from colognes that I have for the most part because they are good. Like I do have.
So
colognes.
how many do you have? Like 6?
20.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. 15 like big bottles and then like 5 like pretty decent size. My friend Kat got me them for my birthday.
Yeah,
super thoughtful. But like just 5 Joe Malone like sample bottles. Not like typical like tiny samples, but they're like a good size sample.
Oh, so you're including the sample ones. We're not saying like the full blown bottles and shit.
I have like 16 or 15 full blown bottles.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, but like 5 good size samples. Like they're not like those dial ones. They're like they're like yay big. They're like a size of a Snickers.
Okay.
But like not the bite size, but the fun size.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you make videos that are sus. You have like 430 something thousand followers. Is it more?
Not enough for me to correct you.
Excuse me.
Feels like
440,000.
It feels like 100K, but it's like you're like 20-30K off. But like right now on TikTok, like it's not like, I don't know. Until I'm like in the millions, I won't ever consider like that I have a lot of followers.
Dude, that's the interesting thing because like me too. Like people are like, "Oh, this is my friend." I hate when like certain friends be like, "This is Mike Kim. He's TikTok famous."
I fucking
and then I cringe. Every single time I do this, I do this thing with my face. I go,
yeah, no.
Every single time I verbally like audibly do that, and they can see it on my face, and I just meet them, and they're like, "What's wrong with this guy?"
Yeah.
Don't you hate it?
I hate when people say I'm TikTok famous.
It's fucking annoying.
Because like one, also like, so originally I wasn't on social media in this aspect, right? Where we're like actually publicly like on social media. I was never on that like growing up. I just had like my personal profile or whatever.
Yeah.
And the group that kind of like pulled me, well, the guy that pulled me in, you know, we won't talk about him because he's a piece of work. We don't talk about him anymore. Yeah. But he brought me into it, and basically everyone that I was surrounded with when I first started, I got extremely lucky because like most people grind their entire social media careers to like make these connections, you know. But I got brought into it by people that already were pretty well established, you know, like all in the millions already. And because of that, till I catch up to them, I'm never gonna think, I'm like, that's a lot of followers, you know, that because that's who I'm around. But until I get to that point, I'll never consider like myself like, oh my God, I have a lot of followers. I'm TikTok famous. Like, no, fuck no. You know? Until I catch up to them. But like, you know, that's obviously like, that's a terrible way to think because, you know, it's the whole don't compare yourself to others. But I would rather think that way than be like some people that legitimately think that they are better than others. And they're over there at like, for example, the guy that brought me in, like apparently when it got to his head, it was at like 69K followers. And this is not to like discredit anybody that is pursuing it and is at that following, but I'm just saying like, in the grand scheme of things, like on TikTok, like that's actually, let's just go ahead and say whatever number you're at does not give you the right to fucking think that you are
better than anybody else.
And like letting it get to your head. Because then like for me, it's like I have this number of followers and most people are like, even he was like, that's a lot, man. And I'm like, that ain't shit. Like, and again, it is not to like discredit anybody that is at that number. Yeah. But to me, it's just like, these are the people that are around me. This is where they're at. I need to get to that level because that's just how it needs to be for me personally. But I feel like even at that point, even when I catch up to them, I will still not be like, oh, I'm TikTok famous. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because it's like the further you get into the whole thing, and then the like quote unquote bigger you get, that I realize
there's a next number.
That there's just, you realize the levels get higher and higher the further you get. You're like, oh my god, you realize that there is a fucking depth to this.
There like, is so much. There's another world there.
Yeah. Because when you hit your first like 50, 100K, you're just kind of like, oh, that was so badass. And you're just like, oh, it's just, then you get used to it and you realize now you have to like, okay,
next number.
You gotta work harder.
Because like, unfortunately, there are other people that are gonna like look down on you because you're only at that number.
Dude, hell yeah.
And it's just like, it's crazy. Like the roommate that I moved in with, he was, I knew him before. They like invited me to live with them. But he was really big back in the Vine days. And like once he doesn't make videos anymore as much. But he was talking to me, he was like, dude, trust me, like I've been there. Like he was very like big back then. He was just like, you're going to keep, there's going to always be the next, as soon as you hit it, it's going to be, so what is the number where you are going to look at yourself and be like, okay, I'm not good enough. Like I'm now enough to be like, okay, like I made it. Like I can say, I'm a content creator or whatever. And I told him, I was like, honestly, 100K on Instagram is like, that's like the number where I'll be like, okay, like I have enough of a foothold where I can like actually not feel lesser to like reach out to other bigger content creators, which is a terrible fucking way to think about it. And like, I would never tell someone to think this way, but that's not going to change that. Like, this is in fact like how I think, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think I'm definitely like, I don't know. It's like you hold yourself to a standard and like you're easier on other people. But like for me personally, it's like, okay, like I have to get to this number and then I'll be like, okay, I'm happy with myself. Again, terrible way to think, because like that number is such a superficial fucking number.
I mean, I get where you're coming from too, because hitting 10K to me was like, I thought it was impossible for the longest time. And then it finally happened, and then I'm just like, okay, well this.
Yeah, now what?
Now what?
Now
I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah. And you're right. There is a way that certain people view you that are in it. That are already been in it, and they'll view you a little differently. Yeah, like because you hit past 10K, but then also others will view you a different way because you're not like 50K, 100K.
Yeah, you're just like,
whatever.
oh, he's only at 10K.
Yeah, and then that starts to, if you start to believe in the way, and that's a double-edged sword of that too. If you like it is good to think, let's keep getting progressing, but also the other problem with that is if you're not already thinking like I'm the shit. Yeah. Mixed with a little bit of the humbleness, but you still gotta have like, yo, I'm the fucking shit because I fucking make I do shit, I fucking hustle. Then that lowered confidence actually affects you when you're around them too. Because what I realized being around certain people that are of quote unquote status, that are kind of famous and shit already, is you can't act like they're better than you. But you also can't act like you're better than them,
which you shouldn't do in general. But
period. Yeah, it's just like, to me, confidence is thinking you're the shit, but also not thinking you're better than other people.
Yeah, that's the difference. It's no, like I am as good as everyone else, not I'm better than everyone else. Yeah, I remember like, dude, I would see people at like 10K. I'm like, fuck, man, like I'm only at like 300, and then now I'm like, fuck, I'm only at like 18K. Like this sucks. But then it's like. And again, like it was a talk with my roommate. He was like, "Bro, you like, remember when like at one point you would have been so happy to have hit 10K?
So true.
Like, why can't you be happy? about where you're at right now. And it's like, I was just like, fuck, you know?
Well, okay. Do you get anxiety with that stuff? Like the metrics, the value metrics?
So outside looking in, you know, I think it's like people that look at content creators are always like, what could they possibly have to fucking complain about? You know what I mean? Like these influencers or whatever, their life's so good. But like, as we all know, social media is fake as fuck.
Yeah. Fucking fake. Fake.
So fake. Right. And, like, man, mental health issues within the content creating world are so common. And I like, before I started, I was like, what the fuck? Like, why is this so common? But now I get it to a certain point, but still, like, for me, maybe I just haven't hit that point, you know? But for me, I'm like a lot of people are like, it's so common for people to like be depressed in the content creating world. And I'm kind of like, am I weird for not getting anxiety this way that everyone else does? Like the way that, or like getting depressed the way as everyone else does? Or maybe like, I just hasn't clicked in my head, but like, I don't, when people say like, do I get anxiety? I don't think I've ever hit a point where purely in the context of like, because of content creating or like because of numbers, whatever. I don't think I've ever hit a point where I was like, like, fuck, like what's going on with my life? Like what, you know, like, because I've seen some people get anxious. Yeah. And I'm like, I can empathize, but I sympathize, but I haven't hit that point where I'm like, I can understand what makes them anxious, but it doesn't make me anxious. Knock on wood. Yet. I don't know if it's gonna happen because obviously, like, I'm still on the smaller scale. Like, I'm still I'm not like huge or anything. So like, I don't have that pressure that I think a lot of other people might have. But also, I think like I don't know. We all have our life experiences, and I don't know. I'm still new to content creating, so maybe it just hasn't hit me yet. Maybe those problems haven't fully sunk in. So I don't know, but just all that to say, no, I don't get it. Yeah. The longest preamble ever.
30 minutes later, I mean, other people, you know, I mean, life is just ups and downs. I'm talking about breakfast. Yeah. No, that's interesting because I think, do you keep your age a secret too? Is that a secret?
No.
Okay. How old are you?
I am 26.
You're 26. Okay. That's interesting because people, because I'm about to be 32. So people in their 20s like that, they're more susceptible to that shit. But you, maybe it's because you did like military shit.
I don't want to like.
Does it put in? No.
I don't want to put people down or anything like that. But I will definitely say that like our generation's
soft,
pretty fucking soft.
Soft boys.
And I'm not saying I'm like strong as shit either. I definitely have the things that can cut deep into me, but I think I don't really show it as much unless like, I mean, I'm transparent, but I'm not going to be like, I don't think I've never been triggered. You know what I mean? Like I've never been fucking like where people are, you see that shit all the time on the internet where like someone's like triggered.
Like legitimately
triggered. Like because you offended them. And I'm like, what? Why? You know what I mean? Like how I can't fathom like you getting, not you, but like I can't fathom like this emotional response that I see people react in a way where it's just like so, it really is like, it's just like a bomb went off in their head. And it's just like, where did that come from? Why does that, whatever was just said, why does that cause such a like response? Like what is that kind of response where people legitimately like freak out? Yeah, you know. But you see that so often in our generation, and it's like, bro,
it's outrage culture, and then they get rewarded. You get rewarded for your rage, for like pointing fingers and saying it's because of this, because of that. Like you should do that, you know. And then everybody bandwagons together. And that becomes their whole identity.
Guaranteed, like whatever you think, there's someone else out there that thinks like that. Yeah. So especially with social media, it connects you to those people that think like that. Yeah. And you don't have to grow. You don't have to sort out differences. You can literally just cut people out.
Yeah, you don't have to talk things out and have the hard conversations,
which is frustrating because like that's honestly like those are the ways that like you grow, you know. But yeah, like I definitely think like our generation's gotten pretty fucking soft, and like I'd be careful how I word this. And like for all that I just said, like that's excluding people that have trauma, you know, and then like they get triggered because of a certain like traumatic experience. That's one thing. But there's like cultural appropriation. Like for example, there was this TikTok, and it was such a perfect example. Like this dude wore some like Chinese garment or something like that. But he's a white guy. And everyone on the streets are like, take that shit off. Like, that's so offensive. Bro.
You're not allowed to wear it.
You're not allowed to fucking wear that. And then I'm like, and then he goes to like the Chinese neighborhood, and they're like, oh my God, we love it. Like, we love it. Someone's like taking appreciation into our culture. So it's like,
because they're actually Chinese.
Yeah. And these are actual Chinese people that are like, yeah. And it's like, you see so many people get offended on behalf of other people.
Yeah. When
it's really, they don't even know how the people that they're trying to be offended for actually feel. Like when I was in Sudan, like we had like we found like some of the traditional like Sudanese like garments, and dude, the Sudanese loved that we were wearing that, you know, because it's like you're taking appreciation into someone's culture. You're not like, so if they're not getting offended, why the fuck are you getting offended? You're not. This isn't even in your culture. You know what I mean? Like, why does this offend you? That's not to say like there's obviously there's people on both sides. I feel you always have to put a disclaimer because someone's going to take it out of context. But like there's people on both sides, right? Like there are people that will put the garment on or like put whatever traditional outfit on and like as a joke to make fun of it. That's one thing.
Yeah. Or there's a thing of where they'll take like a cultural thing, like a type of food thing, and then they'll say that they made it up. That's erasure of culture. That's fucked up. Yeah. If you gotta at least be like, yo, this comes from Korea or whatever. Yeah. And that's it. Like, but then if you say you made it up, that's where I'm like, all right, fuck you. But in terms of like that type of stuff and like liking the music, that's how immersion into culture, that's how you can bond with that group of people. Yeah. And they love that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And it's just like, I don't understand. Yeah, that's what I don't understand about our generation, where like people just get so triggered so easily because you're offended, and like they don't even question why they're offended. They just feel that they're offended.
True. They don't look into like maybe it's because this reminds me of this one bully from like 10 years ago. Yeah, but this has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, it has nothing to like your emotions. If you can change your reaction to question why you're feeling something, instead of just reacting, you learn so much about yourself. And I think that's like one of the biggest lessons that like I learned and like probably has helped me quite a bit.
Did you learn it in the military?
I don't know when I learned it. I think like I've always been sensitive, and like obviously growing up, like being sensitive can make you prone to like being looked at as a little bitch.
Yeah. You know? Why'd you say that? You didn't have to say that.
You know? But like feeling emotions isn't a bad thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I don't know when I learned it, I don't know when I picked it up, but I think that's probably one of my better qualities is catching an emotion and then, I'm not saying I do this all the time. Like I'm sure I have my moments where I've like gotten mad or whatever, right? But I'm like for the most part like little ones and twos on the Richter scale of like emotion. I'm like, okay, like why am I feeling this way? Like I'll catch myself getting pissed. I'm like breathe. Why am I angry right now? And like that helps a lot because then it like tells you whether or not are you actually mad at like what's going on or the person, or is there something else that's like in the back of your head that's like, like this bothers me. Because it's like I'm a pretty big believer in just because you're feeling something or if you're just because you're hurt does not mean you have to. I think we've talked about this. Like just because you're hurting or you're pissed or whatever, I don't need someone else to be pissed or hurting. Yeah. I don't need to hurt somebody because I'm hurting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We don't need to drag somebody into the pool that we're drowning in just so we can die together. This is not some fucking like Romeo and Juliet bullshit.
Yeah. You know what else is frustrating? It's like when someone else gets frustrated for you. So like my parents or like my sister, right? Yeah. One of my sisters like has a tendency to like get worked up over a situation that's purely my situation. I forgot what happened. Oh, okay. Perfect example. So my window got smashed one day, right?
Which window? Car window?
Yeah. It got smashed one day, and I was driving home, like. But when I walked out and saw that my window was smashed open, I was just like, I literally made TikToks about it. I was literally just like, all right, like, what is me getting freaked out in that moment gonna fucking do? Is it gonna find the person? No. Like, it's done. There is nothing I can do about the situation where my window just got smashed right now. Like, hey, it's got fucking smashed. Cool. I still got to get home. Whatever. I come home, tell my family, and like, hey, my window got smashed. And my sister and my mom, like, bless their souls, they flip out. Especially my sister. Oh my God, like, what happened? Are you okay? That part I'm okay with, but she's just like, you have to do this. I'm like, okay, can you like chill? Because it's my car window, and you getting super stressed out.
It makes you get stressed out.
It's stressing me out. So now I've got to calm myself down. And it's more annoying, if anything, because it's just like, you know how they say like calm breeds calm? Oh. Where like, that's why they always say like, that's what they taught us, like when you're de-escalating a situation, like just be calm. Because oftentimes like you getting worked up is going to get the other person worked up.
Very true.
So if you can stay calm, oftentimes like that will help in the other person's emotional response, because they don't know what's going on either. Like if you're freaking out, like
it's just mirroring.
Yeah,
you know.
So I'm like, like she's getting freaked out, and it's not even her car. I'm just like, hey, can you chill? Like, it's my car. I get it. Like, yes, we got to do some stuff, but like, there's no need for you to be stressed out right now. Like, it's purely, if I'm not stressed out, why do you need to be stressed out right now? And it's my car window, you know. But like, obviously, you know, I know she cares. Like, I'm not bagging on her for that. It's more just like the whole like people just getting like freaked out by other people's problems. Yeah. And it's like, you not need to be triggered or anything right now, you know.
Yeah, that stuff gets to me, man. Like, I'm very hypersensitive to that, because growing up, my mom was always like, "Oh my God!" Like, if a Netflix doesn't work, it doesn't work. Why? And I was like, "Did you restart it?
Yeah,
just restart it." She's like, "I don't know how to restart." I'm like,
"Yeah."
I show her, and she's like, "Oh, it works." It's this crazy, just like, you're like emotional,
you're so, like, worked up. You're just like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
for like the littlest things, you know. And that's something that I had to, because you know, people that listen know that I moved back home like to work on this stuff, and that, I mean, that actually did improve my relationship with my mom. But I had to learn how to kind of like accept that. Yeah, to a certain point, and stay calm, because then when I'd return and get annoyed, then it's like,
it doesn't help the situation,
and it would add fire to it, even if I knew the answer. But the way I say it, but if I just stayed calm and I didn't do that, and that's a thing that, especially when it comes to like women and dating, that I've learned, and relationships too. As a man, we have to we dictate the flow of a lot of interactions between us and a significant other based off of, like you were saying, calm breeds calm. How calm we are. Now they may not be calm in that moment, but they come back later being like appreciative of you being able to maintain your coolness, right? Because there's been plenty of times in the past where I was not like that, and I returned. I'm like, why do you always have to talk like that? I don't know what I did.
Oh my God!
Don't you know what I did for you yesterday? You know, like a tip or tap. What do you mean? You know I love you. Like, stop! You're yelling at me. I'm not yelling. I'm passionate.
Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, it's not always good to let out your emotions.
It's like, not always.
It's not. Like, I'm not saying like keep everything in. Like, if there's something big, you should probably find a way to
express it
in a healthy way. But again, like, you don't always have to like show or say what you feel, you know. Like, it's oftentimes like that'll actually fuck you over, you know. Like, I'm not saying like keep everything inside, but again, like, if you show exactly how you're feeling all the time, like, it'd be pretty fucking difficult to like navigate situations.
Yeah, you'd be very lonely, and if you had friends, they'd probably be talking about you a lot.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay, like super terrible example. Like, if you liked a girl and you just always like, I like this girl. dude, probably not gonna help you a lot. You know, probably not gonna help you get the girl.
She's gonna be scared.
Yeah, yeah.
He's gonna kill me.
I think one of the most like valuable skills in life is navigating your emotions and then navigating conversations. Two extremely important soft skills that I think kind of are going to the wayside in our generation right now.
Absolutely.
You know, it's either like you agree with me or you're fucking wrong. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like see that so much nowadays. Yeah, dude. I don't know where I learned it. I really don't know like where it came in.
Yeah, because you're a lot more self-aware and smarter than like, people.
Comes with a lot of
like pain, right? You know what I think it is, man? A lot
of pain.
Here's what I think it is. I firmly believe this. The more pain, emotional pain a person goes through childhood and maybe even like early adulthood, the more awareness they have, because they have no choice. Like they have to be like, okay, I feel like this. Why? What do I do with this? You know, instead of just, if you don't go through with it, then you have a feeling of entitlement. Yeah. And that's why I have friends who, I dated a girl that was like super hot, did not have to, you know, figure out anything because she was always cool. And she had like no self-awareness, period. And it was super frustrating.
Or they think they're self-aware.
They think they, because they have a book about like the 4-hour work week by fucking Tim Ferriss. You're like, I read a bunch of self-development books. I'm like, you reading all this shit, but I don't even think like it makes sense to you. I think you read it because she'd like post it on Instagram story, just holding it, to like look smart. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're reading. You don't know what that means. I knew it. I don't know. You don't fucking know. You don't know. Yeah.
It's like, and I'm part of the problem too, because I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't care about looks. Like I will never say that because I obviously do. But I think I've hit a point the hard way. I learned the hard way through like 2 girls, potentially 3, but that third one was like, I don't know. But like, I think 2 girls taught me the most about like, you know what, or they really like put it into my head, that I'm not going to stay around just for looks.
Oh, like you're not going to stay around just for,
yeah. Like they did not sit me down and teach. Like I'm saying, like because of them, I learned the hard way. Because it's like, man, like people that are really attractive, not all, again, like disclaimer, not all, but, and you see this a lot with like someone like modern, I'll say the modern women thought process, because that's like what people on TikTok are calling it. But this whole like, they don't need to bring anything to the table. You know what I mean? Like they just want to be like pampered and stuff. Like, and like, look, ladies, like don't get me wrong, a guy wants to fucking pamper you, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm like whatever girl I'm like dating, like I want to give them everything
that you love.
Yeah.
That you love. Yeah.
But what, like, does the girl deserve that though?
Yeah. Does she bring something to the table?
To the table.
That goes back to entitlement again. Just because you're a girl doesn't mean that like you need a guy to fucking save you from the dragon. Yeah. In a castle, like
that's also not saying like, look, like if I open the fucking door for you, I'm not doing it because I think you're incapable. Okay, it's because I would I do it for my fucking mom, or like I do it. That's just like what it's supposed to be. That's how we were raised. Yeah, and like, but you know, like, dude, I dated this one girl who like was pissed that I opened the door for her. I was just like, all right, well, this,
Okay, dude. So I'm you. I'm gonna open up the door, and you're the girl that you dated. Okay, so okay, hey, here's a restaurant. Open up the door.
Excuse me. You know, I can do that. She didn't talk like that. I can't do it.
But she said that.
I'm not going to say what ethnicity she is because there was only one. In the girls I've dated, there was only one of this ethnicity, so I'm not going to like do
But she said that?
But yeah, she was like, you know, I can do that myself. I was like,
that's such a buzzkill.
I was just like, yeah, what the fuck?
We didn't even start the date yet.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, like, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, but she's definitely on like the, I don't want to get too political, but she was like, I would say, let's go with radical feminism.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like people that grew up like very attractive, I think oftentimes they didn't really need to correct, right? Because there's a plethora of options for them. They don't need. It's just on to the next. You know, like they don't need to correct because there's so many people
waiting in line.
Because like, and let's be real, like, again, you know, you see these like hot ass girls and you're like, you think, again, like, learn the hard way. You think like, oh man, that must be perfect, like this and that. Like, dude, bro, you are not fucking ready for what that girl might put you through, you know?
Like, guys think that the hotter the girl is, they fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
They have great personality. Everything they do is like sunshine and rainbows, but they don't understand. Guys that have not dated really attractive do girl. Not understand that it's really not that fun.
It sucks because it's like, man, like a girl, and like, again, I'm part of the problem because like I care about looks for sure. Like, man, a girl with like, let's say half your looks, you can't really quantify looks, but like girl with like half your looks, dude, has way more personality, but because they don't look like you, they don't get the same chances that you do, but they fucking deserve it a hell of a lot more than you do, you know? And it's like,
you know what I do? You know what I do? This is what I do. I try to find out. I ask them, were you cool in high school? If they say yes, that's a huge red flag. Because the girls that started as the ugly duckling and then got attractive later, they have that personality. They know they have the pain points, and that is what I look for. You know, because I want them to. I want physical attraction on top of the internal stuff. But there's been a lot of girls now where I can't even go out of my way to like smash them because I'm so turned off by that rotten smash, Hulk smash. I'm just like, Hulk does not like personality. Hulk go smash something with better personality. But just almost equal looks, still pretty. Hulk,
it's funny. My friend and I have this saying that we always joke about, and it's just like, hey, you see the red flags, but red's my favorite color. Dude, you know what this one dude? All right, so like this one girl fucking said to me, and she was like, hey, like, again, she didn't know that like some people are like really toxic and they don't know that they're toxic. And I feel for them because like, you know, not everyone recovers from trauma the same way. You know, like, I don't think I've been through a ton of like traumatic experiences or anything like that, but I know that the pain I did feel was enough to teach me, right? But some people, like, some people, the trauma does not make them better. Some people will not recover from the trauma in a way that's like, I don't want to say made them stronger, but like, it's hard to like, I don't want, because this is hard to talk about because, you know, trauma is subjective, right? How you feel about trauma is subjective. So I'm not trying to like downplay anyone's trauma, but like when you go through something traumatic, that is a opportunity for you to become a lot stronger than people that haven't. You know, like that trauma can in fact make you a better person. And like I always say, like pain is one of the life's best teachers. However, knowing how to learn from that pain is more important because people might think that they know how to learn from pain, but like, dude, not everyone does. And like, I felt for this girl, but, you know, I think we, as like people in general, like you kind of come to the point where you can no longer justify someone's actions by their past, no matter how bad their past was.
Yeah, it's the excuses are just kind of drying out. It doesn't work anymore.
And because like there were two of them that like really, I think, my deepest emotional scars, but also like best lessons came from like two girls. But yeah, like dude, one girl told me, she was like, I don't know why, like we were arguing, and I guess I had said something that like I did not mean in any like offensive way, but I guess it had kind of like made her really frustrated, and she told me about it later on, and then I told her, I was like, okay, look, like I thought I said it in a joking way too, but like if that really offends you, like I'm sorry, but at the same time, like you kind of are, you know, like I'm not gonna say what I said, because that's still like, I'm still trying to get comfortable with opening about this particular, let's just say chapter, because, you know, like people pleasers, you care way too much about like how other people feel. And like, I know I have every right to open up about it, but I'm still like, I don't know. Cause like, you know, we were talking about like some people just have such a twisted twisted perspective of life because of, just like how their life has been. And I know that like there are some things that I do that no one else will view as like, man, that's like, no one else is gonna think that's fucked up, but to her it's like I broke the trust, like
it just sounds like a lot of victim mentality mixed with gaslighting.
They don't know that they're the fucking victim, or they don't know that they're not the victim. You know, like they don't know that like in a lot of moments.
You know, I thought that too, because the last girlfriend I had, she was like all about therapy and all that, and you know EMDR. But then I over time I realized, I was like, how is your therapist not seeing what I'm seeing? Mm-hmm. And you went to her for 10 years, and I saw this immediately. Mm-hmm. And what people don't realize is that they don't really talk about is, the therapist only knows
what you tell them.
Yeah. So even if they could read, okay, something's off, they still don't really know. Yeah. You know, so you keep paying them thinking you're improving, and sometimes you're not. Yeah. And that's what happened with the last one. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, I'm going to therapy. I'm doing this. And I'm like,
doing anything?
You know, I think self-awareness, doing the hard work on your own, and therapy, like I think therapy is a supplement. I don't think therapy is the answer. I've never been to therapy,
because like some people will go to therapy and like won't mean shit unless you're actually like practicing what needs to be done, right? Like, yeah, you can go to a therapist and vent, but like again, they don't know the objective story. And you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm on a podcast. I'm gonna just like say things. Like I'm gonna just be open about it, because I think it's been like eating at me for a while, to be honest, like because I wasn't able to like talk to my own friends about it. Okay, so like this girl basically told me like after that she was like, you know what, like I talked to a girlfriend of mine, and like I don't blame the girlfriend, because the girlfriend's like, it's her girlfriend, like that's like her,
it's her hype man.
Of course, yeah, of course she's gonna be on your fucking side. You know what I mean? But like in my head, I'm just like, fuck, like goddamn, this does not help the situation. Because she usually wouldn't go to anybody for advice or anything. And like that's what I told her, like you probably need some external input, because just because it's something's worked for you does not mean that's actually like healthy. But she was like, I don't know why like I even put up with this or put up with you. Like I have so many guys that are ready to date me right now. Oh my God. And I was just like, dude, what the like I just sat there and I was like, so and so, do you not realize like how fucked up something like that is? And like, to be fair, I'll be honest, like there were some red flags. She actually warned me about her red flags. And at that point I probably should have like either prepped myself more or just like been like, you know what, hey, let's just be friends. But I was like clearly like infatuated. Because like as a friend, she's a sweetheart. Don't get me wrong. I think like I know a certain side of her, but like as a friend, she's an absolute sweetheart. But yeah, the like she's used to the guy kind of doing everything. And I think I remember at one point I told her like, hey, look, I'm always texting you first, like can you text me first tomorrow? And the next day like we met up because we were all gonna like shoot a video together. And like after the fact, like still no one knew we were dating, so like we had to wait for everyone to leave, but like we were talking, and I give her credit because she didn't do it, but it's more like it still hurt that that's where her head went. But she was like, I was like, hey, like you didn't text me today, like is it really that hard for you to like text me first, like, you know? And she was like, oh, I was really hurt because like you didn't text me. I was like, I told you, like text me first tomorrow, you know, like whoa. And she told me that because I didn't text her, and she didn't do it again, she didn't actually do this, but like this is where her head went. And I remember she was like hugging me when she told me this, and I was like, don't touch me right now, like I need you to like back up. She was like, oh, I thought about, there's this guy that really likes me and is like ready to date me, like in a relationship right now, and because you didn't text me, like I thought about texting him first, but like the old me would have, but like I didn't. And I was like, I'm proud of you, but I need you to like get away from me right now. Like yeah. I felt myself like, you know, when you feel not adrenaline, but like when certain thing does, let's just, for lack of a better term, let's just say trigger, right? Because at that moment I did feel like my blood like start to like
boiling a bit, right?
Boil a bit. Yeah, and so I was just like, yeah, I need you to like step away from me right now. And she apologized, and I was like, look, like I'm glad you didn't do it, but like if that's where your head really goes, like that fucking sucks. Because it also played into like a lot of like my past insecurities too. The fact that like there's another guy like right around the, like ready. Obviously, like she's a really attractive girl. She's beautiful, but like so of course there's gonna be other guys like ready. But it's like because you couldn't text me first, or I won't even put this on her because I didn't text you first. That's where your head went.
No, but then she turned it around and said it was because you didn't, even though you. I
told her like after a few like times, I was like, like I literally had to fucking pull it up on a computer and be like, this is what you're doing. She was like extremely emotionally unavailable, and she's like, I was telling her like, yo, like you're gaslighting me, like this and that, and then she was like, she flipped it, but no, but you do that to me too, and I'm like, man, okay, look, like. Just because I say you does not mean I'm fucking attacking you, first of all. Yeah. Okay. Like, but man, like again, it was just like this whole lot of like when I would do something, I would own up to it. And a lot of the arguments we had was me expressing that like, hey, you're hurting me. Like you're fucking me up inside. And her not taking accountability for how she was hurting me. Like one of our biggest fights. And I remember like I yelled at her once. And after that, like she was like, hey, can you not yell at me? And I was like, you're right. Shit. Like that's true. After that, I caught myself. Every time I would like raise my voice, I would literally, as soon as I like did it, I was like, hey, you know what? My bad. Like I just raised my voice. And then I would just continue the conversation in a lower tone. When she yelled at me, which was like more often than I'd like to admit, she would be like, look what you're making me do. You're making me yell at you. I never yelled at you before.
You are making me.
Yeah. I was like.
Me.
I was just like, in my head, I'm just like.
Oh my God.
What? Like, she was like, yeah, I haven't yelled like this in years. I'm just, in my head, I'm like, you also haven't been in a relationship in years. So, like, that probably explains why you haven't yelled at a guy. But yeah, she was literally like, yeah, look at you. Like, you're making me yell. This is because of you. I'm like, I'm hearing this and I'm really processing in my head, like, do people actually think this? Like, did someone really just say that to me?
Yeah.
And like, finally, after like hours of me pleading my case, of like, I'm fucking hurt. I just need like, she's like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how to, like comfort you. I'm sorry for what I did. Like, what should I do to make you feel better? And like, I really appreciated that moment because it's like, it's frustrating to hear that question because it's like, I don't know what.
It's like, it's because you've communicated to her so much and yet she's still saying, I don't know what to do. So you tell me.
Yeah, it's like, I appreciate that, but you never want to tell someone how to act. But like, that's communication though. But like, it's kind of like a weird situation where you have to like, now you got to think like, okay, what would make me feel better right now? You know, but I just told like she just hugged me and apologized, and I was like, "This is it. That is all you needed to do." Like I'm a pretty simple guy. I need the bare fucking minimum. Okay, like I really don't need a lot. But she was always like, "You're so needy," and I'm like, and so like I try to like think I'm like, "Am I fucking needy?" But anyways, so she hugged me and she apologized. I was like, "This is it. That's fine. Like this is all you needed to do." Like that pacified hours and days of me being hurt. That was all I needed. And I thought we were good. And then like moments into like her hugging me, she's like, yeah, I just don't want to always have to do this because like you're never gonna have to be there for me and I'm never gonna come to you for emotional support, so like why should I always have to be there for you? And I was just like, what the fuck, you know? And this is also on me because it's like you got to know your self-worth, right? And like if someone tells you like they're not going to treat you a certain way, like you probably should just like, okay, like accept that and like peace out. Or if you stay, that's on you. I straight up told her, I was like, look, like for a lot of people, I'm like emotional support for a lot of people. But whoever I'm like my partner is, I do need my own emotional safe haven. Can you be that for me? And she looked at me and she was just like, I don't know if I want to. Like, I don't know if that. I was just like, oh my God, man, like, fuck. It was a rough one, man. Like, I really haven't publicly. I can count on one hand how many people know about this situation because one of my closest guy friends. I don't want to say closest, maybe, but I hold him very dearly. I don't know how he holds me. Yeah. I'm not going to speak for him, but I was over at his house after like this influencer event thing, and I just broke down. I just started bawling. He's like, bro, like, what the fuck? And I was like, I like kind of spilled like a lot of what happened. He's like, holy shit, I had no idea. But then he was also like, he was like, I mean, that's her though. You gotta like, you gotta kind of expect that. I was like, man, maybe it really was just me, you know, like, fuck. But yeah, that was there's a lot more I could say about it, but I don't want to like put her down or anything like that, because it's like,
you know, I've been in that situation a lot, and it took me to basically being like 29, 30 to start to figure it out. You know, because we're very similar. I think that's all, like, I think that's why we have like, there's a similar frequency, because we're the same in the sense of we're very emotional dudes. You know, exterior, we seem like we're like got the masculine figure, whatever. If we're Asian, whatever the fuck you want to say that shit. But like, we like to save people, and that's our weakness. So I had to learn to hold a fucking hero complex. I had to put my foot down for myself to not do that. And here's what happens when you do that, and you operate in that way for dating. The people that are the worst for you, and that doesn't mean that they're horrible people, but for you, enter your life, because there's this thing where you both attract each other. Yeah,
because they want someone to like do all those things for them,
but at the same time they don't want someone. They resent the person that does that, because they're like, why are you fucking doing that shit, right? So that's why it's just that it was so hard to rewire my brain to get to that point to where I'm just like, no, I matter. And I felt so selfish and guilty, and it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, you know. But that's why, man. So on top of that, you are the guy that's always lending his ear to your friends when they got problems and when they go through shit. Is that what that is too? Is that what you're saying?
Like, I'm their go-to. I think that's like putting myself on a pedestal, but like, I am always there.
That's what I mean. Like, you will listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like, it gives me. Actually, there was a video on this. This psychologist talking about it. He's like, the reason why like people with hero complexes do what they do is because they're reliving past events, or they're tying connections to past events. And so this time, instead of being helpless or whatever, you are now empowered because you are helping someone. So you want to change that outcome for them. But the problem with that is that like, you're now, it's not really about them. Then it's like subconsciously about yourself, you know? But I don't know, man. Like, for me, it's just like, I know what it's like. Like, I will always try to be what I didn't have / want and needed in the times that I didn't have it. That's what I want to be for people.
Yeah.
But it took this girl and a couple others for me to realize that, like, man, like, not everyone deserves what you have to offer. And that is like, I hate saying that, because that does sound, it sounds like I'm putting myself above in a way, you know?
No, but it's true.
But it's so true. It's like, true. And like, not seeing that has definitely fucked me over a few times. But you
know what this reminded me of? I completely forgot about this until right now. The reason why the past girls were, I didn't have boundaries. I wasn't able to, you know, they didn't respect me because I wasn't respecting myself and being able to put my foot down, right? And it was because growing up, my dad would hit my mom. And I grew up saying that, yelling, screaming. He would hit me, all that. He would fucking go, like, control the fuck out of her, like, physically, emotionally, just very manipulative, right? You know, before he died, he was just like, just fucking, it was scary. And I told myself, I will never be like my dad. So I did my best to be the complete opposite. And that's where it hurt me. Okay. It hurt me because I overcorrected. So any time the girl I was dating was like, oh, you like, but you did this, and I was like, I think this is a thing that she's doing. I don't think this is me. Yeah. But I didn't trust my gut instinct because it was detached from my soul and my mind because of all those years of, you know, like all that crap I went through, and I was like, I will never be like my dad. So I became a complete pushover. This thing where no matter, even if they were wrong, it's always me. I'm always wrong. I'm always wrong. So the overcorrection that you were talking about, that fucked me up in every single relationship, you know, even up to the last one. But the last one was the final one to teach me, because that shit got really crazy because of all that stuff. So then I read in this book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, that as men, we it's not about trying to be opposite of our fathers, because that leads to problems. Mm-hmm. We also have to admit, look, we're pretty similar to our fathers.
Yeah.
And I wrote a list down of, okay, I am controlling. I do get angry. I don't hate women. No, not that part. But, you know, like the other aspects where I was just like, fuck, I'm not my dad. But I was like, you know what? It was hard to admit it, but yeah, I'm controlling. Like, I like that shit my own way. Mm-hmm. But I'm not, you know, not to the extent of my father, but when you recognize that you have certain characteristics that are similar, you can work on them and improve them or use them. Like, for instance, the controlling aspect, I throw that into my stand-up comedy and the entertainment stuff. So once I use all that energy in that day for that, then I can relax, and be more like easygoing with other things, and because that's still a part of me, right? So, you know, it's, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. I actually found out, like, you know how like people are born with like innate personalities to a certain extent.
Yeah, like puppies are like that too.
So I found out that I didn't know this till this past weekend, actually, but I definitely got one personality trait, or I don't know if it's a trait, but I definitely do something that my dad did, and I didn't know that he did this. And so like my dad doesn't open up often. I think that's like a thing with Asian parents. Yeah. Is they definitely have a lot of like a lot of trauma that they haven't dealt with within themselves. But basically when he was a kid, one of his, you know, like in Korea, teachers, like, it's pretty normal for a teacher to beat the fuck out of a kid. Yeah. So especially back in the day, I don't know what is, I don't go to school there, so I wouldn't know, but definitely back in the day, I think everyone kind of knew like that was standard practice. But so when my dad was like a kid or a high schooler or whatever, his I don't know what he did wrong, but the teacher basically made him bang his head on the table.
What?
Yeah. like bow and like hit his head. Like not like boom, but like enough times to like my dad has a scar, and I did not know where the fuck that scar was from till this past weekend.
What's the scar shaped like? Like an X or like a little like circle thing? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like an X or a cross. But it was because like he did that so many times and like he created like a large dent.
Holy shit.
And his dad didn't know what it was from. And the reason why he never told his dad was because that teacher was one of my dad's closest friends. So he didn't want to pain his dad with telling him like
what, okay, wait, I'm confused. Is it the closest friend? What?
One of my dad's dad, one of my grandfather's closest friends was my dad's teacher that did this to him.
Oh.
And
that's why.
So he never told, like, my grandfather died without knowing that like one of his closest friends like fucked up his kid.
Oh, he would have fucked his ass up.
Yeah. And so my dad, knowing that, like, didn't tell him. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, like, that was literally like the situation I'm in now, where like I'm not telling anybody any of like what happened with this girl, because like she's a friend of like all my friends, and so it's like I don't want to like ruin her image, but it was like, man, like, and it sucks because it's like the whole thing where you don't always get closure, you know. And I think for me, my closure would be like her kind of accepting and owning up and apologizing for everything she did.
She was never gonna do that.
But she's not. But I'm like starting to just like accept that, you know what, like in her head, I really was the one that like fucked her up or whatever. Like she's the victim, you know. And I'm just like, I don't want to think that, because it's like I don't want to think that like someone really would think that. Just like not even just like think that badly of me, but like also just like man, like you put me through so much and you really think that like you're the victim here, you know? And that was like my second like I'll just say situationship that I got, like, I don't want to say emotionally abused, but like we'll call it that, because I think me not saying that it was is like kind of trying to protect her. Because it was just like, man, like I just wanted to like not be treated that way, because I was just like, am I not good enough to get like treated well by a pretty girl?
Yeah.
You know? And because like the whole phrase of like not being good enough has been something that's like subtly controlled my entire life. Like I've always just wanted to be accepted. That was part of why I joined the Marines, even because everyone loves the hero, you know? So I was like, oh man, like if I do this, then like maybe people will like me more, you know? But also another reason why I joined was because I was a fucking weak little bitch and I just needed a reset button to change. I hated what everyone thought of me. Not that everyone thought of me like poorly or anything, but it's just like I just didn't fucking matter, you know?
You felt invisible.
Yeah, I just didn't matter. And like, so I was just like, and like I'm like really self-conscious about my looks, because it's like, growing up I was always told like, oh, I wish so and so was like you. So it's like, okay, so my personality's fine, but my looks aren't. Fuck, I need to change that, you know? Like, so like the Marines was a really big reset button for me, you know? Like it changed who I was mentally, and obviously like to a certain aspect, like physically. But I was just like a scared little kid. I didn't want to be there anymore. Fuck. Oh, it's getting real. Okay. Moving on. But like as a guy, you know, you're in pain when you just like cry by yourself in your room, you know?
Damn.
And like, bro, no one knew for like those months. Like not her, or like obviously like none of my friends knew, because like they didn't know we were dating. Yeah. But like no one knew that like I was going through it. And I think part of it was just like, you know what, like I need to learn from this. So like I will own these emotions, you know? But fuck, I didn't expect to get this emotional. Basically, dude, she said something that actually like, so like my friends don't know this, but like before my birthday party, back in April, she said something to me that, and at that point we had already like ended, but we decided to maintain the friendship. But she said something to me because like she was bothered. I forgot by what, but she was like, she told me like, oh, I saw you on your live. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't know you watched my lives. You know, I thought we were taking like that distance of like not seeing each other on anything. And she was like, yeah, I kind of miss your voice, but I wish I hadn't watched it, because like you're talking about like how girls have hurt you. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, well, that's kind of like created a lot of who I am. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, like it's, you know, I think I'm just kind of down. And she was like, yeah, I think, I forgot how we got to this part, but she was like, yeah, I think you're addicted to feeling sorry for yourself and pain. And I don't when someone like calls me out or like criticizes me, I don't get that defensive. I'll try to like hear it out and be like, okay, maybe I do this. So like after she said that, I was like, man, I think you're right. You know, like, you know, I think I really admire how you just like don't get emotional about shit. And I look back and I'm like, what? But yeah, so like she said that and I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like maybe that is what it is. And the conversation ended. And then like as soon as the conversation ended, I was just like in my head, I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like what did I just say? Cause like you haven't known me that long, but like you can tell like I'm like you said, like I'm pretty self-aware, you know, like, so like I don't mind admitting my shortcomings, because it gives me something to work on. But I was kind of thinking back, I was like, these past couple months, like what has happened, right? Like so the guy that brought me into social media, Chlamydia boy, we you know, that was like when we found out who he really was, and like how like what he's been doing, you know. I'm glad he's out of my life for sure, but that doesn't change the fact that like I consider this guy a brother, you know, and I thought that he considered me a brother. Maybe he did. I don't know. Don't care. So I lost a pretty integral part in this chapter of my life where I'm in social media now. And then a few weeks later, wait, no. Basically, I ended things with her and lost him in the same time frame. Mm. And when the whole thing had happened, I checked in on her. I was like, "Hi, how are you doing this whole thing?" Like, we just found out one of our closest friends is like a piece of shit. There were, like, I went through that alone. Like
both of those things?
Yeah. Like, he was the one that kind of like set up the whole filming days and whatnot.
Yeah.
So after that, everyone kept filming together, except me.
Why?
I was never invited out. And I don't think they didn't. I'm not saying like I don't think they didn't invite me out to like spite me or anything or like that. Like, I just wasn't, you know. Mm-hmm. But she was always invited out, and like, I'm not mad or frustrated that like she has people that like care for her or anything like that. But it's more like everyone was there for you. You were always around people that like love you and like care about you. And I went through that by myself. Even though I was caught in the fucking crossfire. Like, I went public about it. Like, Gina's like my older sister. Like, I love her. And like, I knew that like in that situation, the moment I go public, the moment I take a side, like I'm losing the other person, you know? So, and like, dude, people in today's society fucking forget that there's a whole entire life outside of social media, outside of what we put out there.
Oh yeah. 100%, you know? Man. Yeah.
So I'm caught in the crossfire and I'm about to lose someone like extremely close to me. And I'm glad it was fucking Reed. Don't get me wrong. But I went through that whole like chapter by myself, and she was always going out to parties, going out to film, hang out, eat with my friends, her friends too, our friends, right? And you don't do things and you consciously think I'm decompressing, but that's what you're doing. When you have all these distractions, like you're able to kind of put that off for a little bit and like decompress, you know, like feel better without having to think about what's like going on.
Temporary bandage.
Yeah, temporary bandage. But even with the temporary bandage, like wounds can heal, you know?
Yeah.
Wounds heal under that temporary bandage.
To a certain extent. Yeah.
And like for me, it was just like, I'm not trying to compare positions, but I think I had a little bit rougher position because like they were like closest. I was closest to both of them, both Gina and Chlamydia Boy, and like anything's with her going through that alone, like, and like as guys, it's kind of expected that like we just handle shit, you know. So it's like I'm just like at home filming by myself, like. Not ever getting hit up to like hang out, go eat by like the people that I thought were my friends. And it's like, I'm happy that she has all of that to make herself like, you know, to like, you know, help her or whatever. Even if she doesn't know that like that's what's helping her, like, or that's, you know, helping her decompress or whatever it may be. But how like she had all that and she's telling me like I'm addicted to pain and feeling sorry for myself. And I'm like, and no one knew that like I was crying for those like 3-4 days after she said that. Like I was crying for like straight. Actually, I like on the day of my birthday party, like she was in the other room and I was filming with some other friends, and I'm pretty good at hiding my shit, you know, like I think learning how to proper times to detach from your emotions is like important. But if you ask me, are you okay? I'll crack. And like, my friend Shu was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But I could already feel like myself choking
like
up a little
welling
bit.
Up. Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, like, do you want a hug?" And I was like, "If you hug me right now, I'm gonna come out, freak out."
Squeeze the tears out.
So she's like, fucking. She comes over and hugs me. I'm like, "Fuck," you know. I start like tearing up, but like no one knows why I'm tearing up. No one has any fucking idea. She's in the other room. She didn't even know I cried. Wow. And I can't fucking tell them because it's her that like I'm like crying about what she said, but like I can't get mad at her because I just understand that she does not have the emotional capacity to really comprehend like the things that she says and how they affect people. And like I understand that like sometimes people say things because like she admitted later on when we talked about it, like, so I've just got all this pent up like emotion with like nowhere to fucking like
escape.
Not go escape, but it's like I can't blame her because she just doesn't know what she says and does sometimes and how it affects others. So I can't get mad at her because I know she doesn't have it come from a place of malicious. So I just have to like, all right, I just have to let it subside. But like, dude, for 4 days straight, I was just crying. And then like the night of my birthday party, like no one knew. I snuck away to my car and just like bawled for like 30 minutes.
On
like,
your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And my birthday, actually on my birthday, I woke. So my birthday party was the day before my birthday.
Yeah.
But the night of my birthday party, I like snuck away to my car to just fucking cry because I couldn't hold it together. And then I came back and I was like, I'm good. Like cheery and whatnot. Because I don't like people seeing me like sad or whatever. So like, that's why this is kind of like foreign to me too. But, yeah, the next day, like I literally woke up and like my sister's like making me a cake and I'm like, I start bawling. She's like, what happened? I was like, it's nothing. Like, you know, but she texted me, the girl texted me. She's like, hey, can we talk? I was like, yeah, sure. What's up? And I guess like, so I said / did something that was like an inside joke for us, to kind of show that there's no bad blood, like to show that like, hey, like I still care about you. Like we're still good. Like, you know, like, but I guess she took it as like, that was me embarrassing her. So she was like, you know, you did something the other day that was like, that really broke my trust. And this is a frustrating thing. I think it's always frustrating when you're like in relationships or friendships where when one side gets hurt, the friendship's all of a sudden in jeopardy and the other side just like stays quiet and like doesn't ever say anything when they're hurt. Because if they do, then like they just get lashed out at, you know? But basically like, she was like, yeah, like I really lost trust in the friendship and like the relationship. Keep talking. And I'm like, I'm kind of like, okay, like what's, what did I do? And she told me what I did. And I was like, like in my head, I'm like, I don't know how that would offend someone, but hey, like that's her. So that's subjective. So like, okay. So I was like, I am sorry. But like, while we are on this topic, like, can I tell you something that's like been going on? And I told her like what she said. And she was like, she basically like kind of like freaked out at me. And she was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe you would take it that way. I never meant to like hurt you or anything. I'm just like, look, I know I'm not saying this is what you meant to do. I'm saying this is how like, this is what happened. Like, this is how I felt. And like, she turned it into like, you know, like, this is why I can never talk to you about stuff because like, you always have a rebuttal. And I'm like, I have a rebuttal because every time you do something, I don't say anything because I just understand that's how you are. And it's no longer my responsibility because we're not dating to like, for me to like stand up for myself or whatever, as far as like, we're not in a relationship or anything like that, you know? So it's like, okay, like, that's how she is. Like, fine, whatever. Like, you know, but at the end of the day, like when you say certain things, like, so if someone hears what you say, like at the end, like that's going to stick with them depending on what it is. So it's just like, she was mad that I was like, I had something to say back. I'm kind of like, I had to like explain and like plead my case of like, look, I have a rebuttal because there are things that you do that like hurt, but I just don't say it anymore because we're not dating. It's not your responsibility to like take care of me or like, and plus I sort of told her like, I can't be vulnerable to you either because every time I have been, like it has ended with it being my fault. Like it was flipped onto me, you know? And, that was the last time we spoke, actually, was that conversation where basically we decided like, you know what, like we're going to do like no contact, like no social media or whatever. And like in my head, that's what I wanted at the start of that conversation, because she just had like, there have been so many instances where like she had said something to me and she would justify it later on with something like, oh, you know, like I say things when I get angry, like I don't, and like she won't remember what she says. I'm just like, what the fuck?
No matter how many times you remind her, and you could be like, this is the timestamp, this is exactly what happened, because I said this.
But that's just me rebuttaling. That's her. She takes it as like, I'm only saying this because she said something to me. And when it's like, no, like I just, you know, like I just can't be hurt. I'm just like not allowed to be hurt by you. So I'm just like, I just fucking, you know, not gonna say anything. But yeah, since then, again, like it sucks because like social media does not help all the time. But it's like, because none of my friends knew what was going on. I'm not mad at them. Again, like it's not their job to check in on me, I guess, you know, like now I'm in a position where like I'm questioning like how I held them a certain way to me, but like now I'm questioning like, okay, like how much do they actually care about me? Because it's probably not the same amount that I care about them.
Are we talking like social media friends or like friends outside of social media?
Social media friends that like we all like film together and hang out.
But you have your other friends outside of that, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever bring this up to them? You didn't, huh?
No.
Why?
Because it like,
you feel like they wouldn't care, or you don't want to bother them?
It's a different world, man. You know what I mean?
It is, but like the dating though, or just having someone to hear you, those other friends will, because I'll talk to them and they don't get certain things, but they listen. You know what I mean?
For them, they were kind of on the side of like, man, like you saw the red flags. Like it was kind of like that, like, you know.
Oh, like the answer, solution, practical,
yeah,
like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's not to actually like there were two. Actually, I just hadn't told them. It wasn't for no particular reason, because I know they're there for me.
Yeah.
But it was more like, it's frustrating not being able to tell people that like I actually like film with and stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's like they're just like thinking like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh yeah, so
I can't. I'm not. It's
they
like
don't know the reason. They just feel the after effect.
And then I'm just like, I can't.
Does he feel weird with me? Is it me?
And it's like, dude, like my friend was like one of the guys. He was like asking me, you know, like, because they're the ones that were asking.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating not being able to tell them, like who it was or what had happened. Like when I broke that one time, like my friend was just like, bro, like what's wrong? You know, you can tell me. I was like, I know I can, but I'm not, because this is bigger than me. Like, and
you know what's interesting about this is you're so worried about the other person and how it affects
that's my
everything.
Fucking problem.
But here's the interesting thing.
Like me talking about this right now is a break in trust to her. But
think about this. You being so worried about the other person, and then the group, by saying who it is, but because you're working so hard to protect it, it actually still had the same effect, but in a negative way of like, now they're kind of weird with you a little bit because they don't know why.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't it interesting? So it's still, I mean, who knows? If you did tell them, what if it didn't get like that? Like, whoa. But because you're not talking about it, it's taking it down the way that you didn't want, that you're afraid for it to go. Do you see the contradiction in that?
Yeah. It's definitely frustrating. Like I had one friend that I would like tell, not who it was, but like, this is what was said to me. And he cried. He's like, bro, like who the fuck is it? Like, do I know this person? I was like, yeah. And he's like, who the fuck is it? I don't want to be around this person. I was like, and he didn't know that like it was someone that he spent a lot of time with, like dinners and like stuff like that. So I didn't tell him, because again, like who she is to me and how she treated me is not how she treats everyone else. Like I've just seen that side of her, you know. But like, man, like an idiot would, I like would still look at her stories occasionally, and like, dude, like straight up got replaced. As far as like,
there's already another,
not like a boyfriend or anything like that. Just as a person in the group for what she wanted for like her stuff. And like I understand, it's like it's probably like not. I get it. because it's like, you know, I can understand her not wanting to be around me. Mm-hmm. But like, for example, like some of our friends, like we talked about like, oh, what if we got like an Asian like creator house? And I saw in her story one day, she was like, everyone that we had talked about it with was there, except me. And I was like, and I was replaced by like someone else.
You know,
like
what I think,
another friend of mine. I was just like,
I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is, man. Okay, it's not them. She's orchestrating this, because that's what I would do.
I don't think she would do that though.
No, but that's a human thing. It's not saying she's evil. It's just, that's a human thing. Like, people are gonna be like, well, I gotta, just in case if the other person says something, and then there's like sides are being chosen, I need to put myself in a position to make sure I'm okay. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's human nature. And I've had situations like that happen to me with my last ex, and I actually lost friends over it that I thought were my friends, but I'm glad that happened because I knew them longer than they knew her. I knew them for like 6 to... How do you even enjoy music like that? You can't even fuck... Dumbass. Anyways. So it's like these few people that I knew since high school, we're talking like 10, 12 years. I only knew her for 2 years. And the other one knew her for like 6, 8 years.
Yeah.
Chose her side. And I was like, fuck. That was part of my, like, one of my like kind of groups at a time. But funny thing enough, I'm glad that happened because once they left my life, and I'm not saying they're bad people at all, but it just kind of let me know who my real friends are. Then from there, better people entered my life that I knew for less time, and they fucking ride for me, dude. Like, they fucking ride for me. It's a crazy thing, but it's like the willingness to, and even if it's scary, being, to lose people is can really change your life for the better. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you look at all that. I feel like this is like a daily thing, right? Like you're even if you're having fun with your homies and all that stuff, it's still kind of in the back of your mind. And when you see something on a social media, or you just feel like it fucks up your day. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and it's like, how much longer should we let that happen?
Well, it's just like, I mean, like everything that's happening is like, I mean, it's clear that like, doesn't matter what I think, what I feel, like.
Why doesn't it matter what you feel?
Like, as in like, as far as what's going on, like,
but why doesn't it matter?
I'm living in consideration of like, oh, her being hurt.
Yeah, but is she living in consideration of you? That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it doesn't matter.
You self-sacrifice like on an extreme
first
level end. Which I think is like to a level where it's really unhealthy. Like for you.
That's who I am though.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to be who you are. I'm telling you, I was just like you. Like, we're very similar, man.
But there's like, for me, it's just like, that's always been my like, it's when you I'd rather be that guy. I'd rather be that guy than...
Why would you rather be that guy?
Because I don't want to be selfish. I'd rather be that guy that can take the hit than the person that causes...
But you're getting curb stomped. You're not just taking a hit. They're teabagging you, dude. You're getting teabagged. I mean, I'm not saying specific people, but like, you're getting teabagged by these situations because of that.
Yeah.
And to me, because I've been there so many fucking times, like from my whole 20s, literally all my fucking goddamn 20s, even when I knew they took her side, I was like, you know what? I'm going to ignore the way I feel and then just be friends. And even when we hung out, I knew they didn't fucking want me there.
But the thing is like, I don't even care. I don't care if they hang out with her. But I recently found out that apparently she had distanced herself from some of the friends. There's some of the people in the group because she didn't want them to choose sides. And I was like, what fucking sides? I didn't even know there were sides in her head. Like to me, it's like when I see her, I'm happy that she's around good people. Like I never thought there were sides. I didn't think there had to be a fucking side to choose. But evidently, like I guess there is.
There's always sides. The unfortunate rule of life. Here's the facts. Even when people say they're neutral, they're gonna lean a little bit more towards the other, just a little bit. But those are still people that are okay. But most people are gonna completely take a side.
That's what hurt, was seeing people take a side without even knowing what my side was. And it's more frustrating because it's like, man, she fucked me up emotionally. I know part of it's because like, so growing up, I kind of romanticized like the broken hero because it was the one I could relate to the most.
Because you're Korean too. It's very Korean of us. That's what.
like the guy that, because like I was already hurting, but I wasn't a hero growing up, you know. But the guy that's like suffering and like taking all the beatings, that no one knows, like, even though they like don't like him, they don't know that behind the scenes, like, he's the one that's like saving the world or whatever. And like, to me, it was just like, maybe like as a kid, I was like, maybe that's the one I can be, because that gives a reason for the bullshit that I've been through. Like, it puts the pain to use, you know. I think I kind of got it. I mean, it definitely came to a price, you know, like, you know, like, again, like, I think I'm lucky enough to like not have gone through like severe trauma, but like just enough pain to like learn the lesson. But yeah, no, I know I'm like doing it to myself partially because it's like no one's saying that I have to keep caring about like how she feels or whatever. But the problem is that like, and my friend Melissa tells me all the time, and she's like be unapologetically you know, and like stop caring about what other people thinks. But for me, and like for me right now, it's just like not caring about what other people think is one thing, but doing something knowing that someone's gonna get hurt, that's another. And like, it's like, even though I know that like her perspective on the situation might be very different from what actually happened, or what I see or whatever, because I don't want to invalidate her feelings either. Doesn't change the fact that like I know that like me talking about it in general is gonna like hurt her, you know.
Man, Saint,
because like I said, like I don't think there are sides. Like when I say that like I will always care about you, or like when I say like I will maintain the friendship, like I mean it. I don't just because like what, just because like you and I didn't work out doesn't mean I have to hate you. Doesn't mean like,
I gotta say this. I'm not sure if I've met, and you're up there in terms of level of self. I'm just like, yo. I'm like, I feel for you. I'm just like, shit. And
but I'll take that over being a fucking chlamydia boy any day.
No, that doesn't. But that's what I'm saying. You're doing what I was doing with the whole dad, my dad thing, the overly self-correcting to the point where it's like almost not real. It's like, you know. And devil's advocate, when she said you like pain, there's a little bit of that I'm seeing. I'm not saying you like seek it, like you're like, oh, it makes me so happy. I need pain. Yeah. But like from outside looking in, with the way that you kind of operate with just like things like this, there's like this high level emotional pain, suffering that you continue to allow yourself to go through. We're all going to go through things like that, but it's to a level where it's like you intentionally place it upon yourself when it doesn't have to be to that level. Like, it's just I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't know how to like.
You need to be more selfish. You have to be more selfish.
That's the thing, is like, and like that they say that like people are like with big hearts or whatever, like have the hardest time like putting themselves first because they think it's selfish. And like, I'm like, fuck, because like I don't know how to do it where I don't feel selfish, and if I feel selfish, then like I'm not gonna want to fucking do it, you know, because there's enough selfish people in the fucking world, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the way I look at it is this. Okay, we'll use me for example, because again, just to reiterate, I'm very similar to you, but me training myself to, do you know how? Okay, so that book I got, No More Mr. Nice Guy. There's like 48 different work exercises you need to do, and one of them was saying, it was saying in the book that people, when they let's say for instance they tell you to come over and they cook for you. They do that because it makes them feel good, but we feel like we have to say, can I help? Can I do the dishes? Can I do this?
How can I make it up to you?
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah,
dude, literally happened to me the other day. Actually, like, I recently became friends with like some people that I met through my friend Justin Park, and they bought me dinner the other day, and I'm just like, and they also had cooked for me another time prior.
2 in a row.
Yeah. And like, and so it's a couple, but like the girl, we had talked about how being the person that like cares more than for other people than themselves. And so knowing that, I'm just like, knowing that she does this because she genuinely cares, I don't want her to ever think that like I don't appreciate it. So it's like I have to do something to make up for it, you know, like for both of them, because it's like, despite us not knowing each other for that long, like that means more to me, especially like during this time of like everything that had happened, you know.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing. Here's the thing. So going back to the thing which is related to this about the cooking, the exercise was, let people give to you. Like nice guys have a hard time receiving because we feel massive amounts of guilt. Like we can't just accept it. We feel like we have to give them back something immediately, or feel like we have to earn it, whatever. So it said, don't help, don't offer help, don't do that. And the first time I did that, it was just a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I sat down while she was cooking dinner for like me and another friend, and the fucking urge I had to say of, hey, I can help cut onions. I can help cut onions.
Let me just do something.
Yeah. It said to sit there and just feel that and don't say shit. I felt so guilty for hours. And then she made it and I ate it, and even then I still wanted to say, hey, can I let me get your drink. Let me get your drink. Let me wash the dishes.
Yeah.
And I had to fight that the whole night. And I thought if I didn't do that, she's not going to invite me anymore. I thought if I didn't do that, she's not going to like me. She's going to think I'm a selfish prick, that I use people.
Yeah.
Funny enough, after that, got invited again. Of course, we say thank you and stuff, right? And she was like, did you like it? I'm like, yeah. And I was like, as I started to do less of like, oh, let me help, and just see them, because they invited me for a reason, right? They wanted to cook for a reason, and I go, and I'm like, I started to finally see and stop projecting my own insecurity and fear of they're gonna like me less. It went from that to, I could truly see the joy and smile on their face of, hey, I invited Mike and my other friends to eat here, and I wanted to cook for them so because I made it and I wanted to give it to them, because their presence and just us hanging out that's all I need. I did it for that reason. Not I invited I invited Saint to eat with us so that he can get us next time. You know?
Yeah.
Nobody ever thinks that, unless you're a fucking sociopath, right? So that was so hard to do for months. Oh no, the exercise was do it for a month straight. I was dying, dude. Every day I go home just like, fuck, you're not gonna be my friend. Yeah. No lie. No, it didn't fucking affect anything. Even to this day, I still have that. If I'm like if I have like a hangover or something, and then I'm like weak again, I'm like, oh, then I revert back to that, because it's always gonna be there. But that's not the case. It's like we need something else. What is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. Yeah. Right? It's sometimes it's like we need something from the outside to tell us, hey, maybe you should try something else, even if you don't believe it, or even if you think it's completely wrong, because it might help you. And that completely changed my life. Like, and now I'm a better friend to people, because I'm a stronger version of myself that isn't always coming from a place of fear. Because I would take a lot of the actions I would take was purely because of, the closer they get to me, the more I felt like I had to lose. The more they would give to me as we got closer, the more I felt like, oh my God, I have to do things. I would get anxiety. Yeah. I couldn't relax. And even putting boundaries, being like saying no, like, no, I don't want to. Like somebody was like, hey, help me move. And I don't want to. Like, do you know how hard that was for me to say?
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine me saying no to that right now.
It's like almost impossible, right? But I would never say no, even if that meant 8 hours of my day and I had work to do. Because I was like, that means I'm a better friend. They'll like me more.
Yeah.
And what I found is that's not really the case. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll like you more.
Yeah.
You know, like just because you appreciate it or I appreciate it doesn't mean that person will be like forever remember that, because people forget.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's not their fault either. Right. So, you know what? Since we're friends now,
it's a little bit of a stretch, dude.
No. I don't care. No, to me, I don't care. I don't care how you view me.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No. Even if it wasn't, I view you that way. I don't give a fuck. So like,
alrighty.
yeah. But I don't know.
I think what hurt was like, I don't do it. I don't know, it's just like these people that I appreciate, I guess like it kind of felt like I got tossed aside. And I know that's not what they did. I know they don't do it like intentionally to make me feel that way or something like that, but that's what it felt like, where it was like, I don't care, like the whole side thing. Like I said, like I don't think there are sides, but evidently there are, apparently. It's like one, like you didn't even ask my side of the story. And I don't know what she said for her side of the story. But it's like, man, like I just got the people that I thought were my friends, I just got tossed aside.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, what was the point? Like, the whole thing about, like, I guess like kind of hurts more because it's like the whole childhood thing. It's like, I went through all of this. I'm not trying to throw a pity party. I'm not like being like, oh my God, what was me? But it's more like, it's just like I went through what I went through as a kid in the military and like whatever. And then I got tossed aside and I'm just like, all that, you know, like I want to be accepted. And then it's like, all of a sudden, like I'm just like tossed aside by the people that like I was really grateful to have in my life. It's just like replaced immediately. And I was like, damn.
You're also worried about, is there a part of you that feels like I can't show 100% of me because they might not like me?
No,
I
think like it took me a very long time for me to like accept, because you've already kind of seen like I have a pretty bad self-image, like how I think of myself.
But isn't that part like you and your feelings towards things and you suppressing that and then hiding that? Isn't that part of you not being fully transparent? Can't we say that?
Well, I'm not being transparent with them because obviously like, well, they don't know. They don't know what happened.
But why won't you tell them?
Because it's bigger than just me.
Yeah, but now you're not even there because of that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I feel like they're good people, I think, and it's better if she's surrounded by like good people.
But what about you? You deserve good people around you.
I think I still have good people.
Yeah, I mean, within that realm of,
I think it's just like, I don't know. I kind of told myself that like, I'm probably gonna, I haven't decided yet, but it's like, at least the guys, you know, I'm gonna tell them like, hey, this is what's up. This is what happened.
Yeah.
And to me, like, there are no sides, but like, I guess, you know, there are to her. But like, I don't care if you guys hang out with her or whatever, you know. I tried reaching out to one of the girls in the group and she didn't reply. So I'm going to go ahead and just assume.
No,
that,
we already know. We don't have to assume anything. It's facts.
Which just sucks because it was like, she was someone that I actually looked up to. The girl that I tried to reach out, I looked up to her a lot and I respected her. And it was just like, okay, I know they're close. but clearly I don't think she even cares about my side of the story. No. And actually, like, again, so like I tried to show like there really is no bad blood. So like recently she did something that she told me when we were dating, like that she was too lazy to do, because I was like, you have all the resources in the world, you know, like why not just do it? You know, she's like, yeah, I guess you're right. Like I was just been kind of lazy, and so I was going to be a part of it. Obviously I wasn't anymore, but I saw that she had done it, and I was like, hey, I just want you to know, like, it's been a while, but like I'm proud of you. Like I'm happy for you that like you did that, because I know how long you've been wanting to do that, and like you've been putting it off. So like I'm proud of you. And I sent it as a voice message. Maybe if I just sent it as a text, I don't fucking know. But I sent it as a voice message. She saw it, and then like the next day blocked me. And I was like,
oh shit. I
was just like, what the fuck? Like what? Also, we were in a group chat. Someone made a group chat for all of us, because again, people didn't know that we were like a thing or whatever, to shoot videos at like one of our other friends' like place. And we're all talking, and she left the group chat, and it was just like the people that did know about me, that like I was like I had told, I was like talking, I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah, that was weird, definitely, like why would, like, we all got the notification that you left, you know, like why would you do that? But it was clear. It just kind of hurt, because it was just like, yo, no offense, but like I do not deserve to get like treated like this. Like what did I fucking do? And then I was gonna and then yesterday I come to realize one of her friends blocked me
from the group.
No, like outside.
Just a different friend?
Yeah, just another I mean, she was her friend, but like we were talking because like she's like a streamer, and like I kind of like I would like to start that.
If she blocked you, that means that
clearly
she went in with like, all the story,
and I'm
whatever.
Just like, it's frustrating because it's like,
that's fucked up.
What did you tell these people? And it's more frustrating because it's like, what did you tell these people? Because like you put me through a fucking ringer, and I didn't like retaliate, because like I don't think people, you know, like trying to get even is not always the best way to go about things, you know.
Agreed.
But it's just like, what the like I do not deserve this, you know. And as much as like I would like to be like, this is what she fucking did, like this and that, like I feel like that's kind of selfish, because it's like, okay, that's retaliating, right? So it's just like I just gotta like take the blows and not hit back, because hitting back is now like you are now adding to that toxicity.
Yeah, because at that point, even if you already told the story, if you tried, I just feel like that everybody already made the decision regardless. Because if they really did care, they'd come up to you and say, asked, yeah. So
and that's what hurts, is that like,
yeah. So again, it doesn't mean that they're shitty people. It just means that you know where their loyalty lies. And certain people just are not meant to be in your life. I
mean, logically speaking, she probably is the better choice for content creating.
Based off, yeah.
Content creating, and stuff like that.
That's another thing, man. When it comes to like power, when it comes to like social media and stuff.
That's what I hate about that fucking world. Yeah. That's why like I have to fucking make it to like, so I can like get to the kids that like you don't have to
sell your fucking soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what I've seen too, man, is people take these sides and shit. Because I've been through something like that. And I always know that friendship will never last, because the one with the actual power that the other person's trying to latch onto, that's like the mutual friend, like that, you know, it never lasts. And it never fucking lasts. Because they already got too much shit going on for them. You just happen to be an asset at that moment in time. So I'm telling you, it fucking always happens. Those friendships based off of that are not genuine friendships, and they never truly last. If that's the bond, really? Why not the bond of going through like war together? What about when we got into a huge argument as good friends, and then we talked about it, and we were able to work it through, we squashed it, and now we know how to communicate better, we understand each other better. That's also part of going to war in my mind. That is bond. That is a bond, a friendship.
Yeah.
Now you're now if you want to talk about just like gaining of assets and like superficial shit, that only lasts so fucking long. Only so long. As long as both can win. Now you can still you're still friends, but that's not like homies. That's not a brotherhood. I've seen that too many fucking times, man. So, and that's what these kids need to know too, and they're gonna find out, you know. So that's what we're trying to let you know, you guys, kids, guys, adults, whatever, everybody. It's just kind of that's a tough part, man. It's this is so cliche, but very true. The older I get, there is less people within the actual circle, and then there's also people that are like outside of that. They're like the friends that you know that are you're cool with and everything. There's like so many layers of the onion of like quote unquote like friendship, and an acquaintanceship, and then I don't even know if that's a fucking word, acquaintance. You know, and like business, you know, it's just like this. Yeah. So many layers where it's almost like, especially because of what we do, it's like we have to compartmentalize that. As tough as it is, like I was like, I'm friends with this person, and then I was like, oh, they don't even think of me that way. Yeah, and that fucking sucks.
I think that's, I think just it's that hard to swallow pill of realizing that like you might care a lot about someone, but they might not give a shit about you, and like that's just like how it is. And like that's one of the biggest like things I miss about the military is like, man, that was never an issue. That's the thing too, is that like, man, like you could hate somebody in the military, you still got their back though, no
matter what. When it came down to the nitty gritty,
like
you still had life's on the line, they'll fucking be there for you.
There was one dude in the detachment when I was in Sudan, and I remember I was chewing his ass. I was like testing him and stuff. Because I was the ops chief at the time. I was just like, I'm not gonna say who it was. I was like, bro, I need to talk to you about something. All right, like let's take a pause from this assessment real quick. He's like, what's up? I was like, how old are you? You know, and like at the time I was like, I was 23 at the time. And he's like this 28-year-old dude, like, and he'd been, we were both sergeants, but he had been a sergeant for like almost like 8-9 years or some shit. And I was like, hey dude, why is it that every time like, why can you not do any of the training I put you through? Like everyone else is performing, but you are fucking last in everything. And like obviously in the military, you can be a little bit more blunt, you know, because there are bigger things than your fucking feelings and your ego that matter. You know, it's our job to protect that compound, the embassy. Like, fuck your feelings. I'm not saying like as a man, I will still level with you, you know, but do your fucking job.
There's a mission.
Yeah. There's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, like straight up, like you look fucking weak when we're training. And like, there's gonna be someone watching that's like, that's some toxic masculinity. Shut the fuck up. All right, you weren't in the military. Because like not only that, but it's like, bro, like he's older. He's been a sergeant for much longer than I had. You know, you have a responsibility as a fucking leader to perform and just not be a weak little bitch, you know, like we're all human. But I was talking to this guy, I was just like, dude, you are last and everything, but you've been in the longest, but you just like, you don't know what to do. You're always lost. Like, what the fuck is the problem? Like, what do we need to do to make you try? Because as where it is right now, I don't fucking trust you with my life. Might not have liked the guy, but I still had his back though. Despite all of that being said, like I still had his back. But like here, I don't want to say in the world of content creating or in the world of LA, because I think that's just like, there's going to be people like that everywhere. But like the level of friendship going from the military, and that's really like, I've talked to some of my friends from the Marines about this too. It's like, that's the hardest thing about leaving is you look for that bond again.
That brotherhood.
And you just don't get it. You don't get it. Yeah. Like, I'm excited to see like some of the guys this week at my housewarming because like we haven't spoken in ages. But when we're together, it's like, dude, no time has passed, you know? Like my buddy Murph, big ass black dude. He and I were like, we've been through some shit together. He was in Sudan as well. And he has seen me like ugly cry, you know? But like here, it's just like, man, like I'm willing to like, I'm willing to be that kind of friend for a lot of people. But it's like learning that like people just aren't like that. People just aren't. That's a different threshold of friendship. And coming to terms, it's like the forbidden fruit. Like once you've had it, like you just want more because you know it's out there. But then like you come to this and like definitely not in LA. Definitely not in the world of fucking content creating. Like that's not to say that like I have friends in content creating that like I genuinely cherish. But after this whole experience, it's like now I'm really wondering like, okay, but what am I to them?
Yeah.
I think that's like seeing how this is all played out. It's like, where did I go wrong? I guess
it's a tough pill to swallow.
It's a tough pill to swallow. Like I think, and like, I wouldn't call myself an egotistical person, but like, it definitely sucks to realize that you just don't matter to some people, you know? And like, I know that it's stinging because it's playing into like childhood insecurities, you know, like of not being
seen,
cared for or whatever. But I know that's also human psychology. Like you're always going to want to be cared for by the people that don't care about you.
You want it even more because
yeah, exactly.
Like the parent thing.
Yeah. And like, it's just a not so great way to fucking live, you know? Actually, it's crazy. Like Will Smith has this like awesome quote. He talks about how fault and responsibility will not always line up. Like it's not your fault that you went through these like traumatic experiences. It's not your fault that like you got abused or whatever, but it's damn sure your responsibility that those traumas do not affect the people around you.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like,
yeah.
Definitely does not always fucking happen, you know? Like I think I'm trying to look back at my life and think like, what traumas do I have that I have affected other people by? You know what I mean? And because I can definitely see like, all right, I've definitely been hurt by other people's trauma, but I'm trying to like look back and it's like, fuck, like, okay, what have I done? Like, as far as like what are my traumas, you know? What are my, because I don't even know if I have traumas like that are to the point of like,
you do. Here's what I learned. This is why it took me so long to even admit to myself I had childhood trauma. Because I kept comparing myself to other people who were like in third world countries in the fucking, then maybe their mom's like boobies got cut off or some crazy shit. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't go through anything like that. But that led me to almost, you know, I was going to hang myself 3 years ago before I was doing this. Like that's all I thought about, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, like, so it was, if I didn't jump into this and try to like, figure out my childhood trauma and admit to myself I had that, I wouldn't be here talking to you. So the thing that made me realize is that every single person has trauma. I don't care even if you were born rich, like fucking Trump's child or whatever, like that rich. Every person goes through trauma, every child, because every child is like very narcissistic in the sense of they think everything that happens to them is their fault, good and bad. Mm-hmm. So that's very real. That's a child's reality. How can they know? They're a fucking child. Mm-hmm. So like the whole like one brain is not greater than the other thing, although if you put it on paper, okay, yeah, like it can seem like that, but for childhood trauma's aspect, that's like, here's what happened. So I listen, David Cho and David Chang. So David Cho was he's got a show now on Hulu, but he's like famous graffiti artist, regular actually artist, and then David Chang is Michelin. I don't know if he's Michelin star, but he's got Ugly Delicious on Netflix. A huge, very famous chef, Korean American, both in their 40s. I listened to a podcast with them talking about how in their 40s they still have to go to therapy every day for their childhood trauma. That's the first time in my life I realized maybe I have something. Because if these two men that are winning in the creative realm, parallel to what I want to do in the creative realm, like, and they're in their 40s and they still struggle with that, but they have like quote unquote everything, money and whatever. Maybe there's something that I'm still struggling with. And, you know, I realized my defense mechanism was, no, I'm fine. But when I looked into it, I was like, yo, it was a Pandora's box. There was so much fucking shit there that I didn't even realize was there. And for 3-4 months, I moved back home. I don't do shit except work on that. I don't do anything. I didn't work. I blew through my savings. I didn't cook. I didn't do shit. I just ate out. I was like, I got to figure this out. So, you know, the thing I noticed from you is you downplay the way you feel, like, a lot, including like the childhood trauma thing. Like, I've heard you say multiple times the like trauma thing. Well, you say like trauma for yourself, but then you dampen it with, well, I mean, I don't know if it is. It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you got to look into that. And not compare to like all this, like everybody else. It's like, fuck everybody else. As hard as that is to say, why do I feel like
But trauma is a strong word.
How?
Like, we've all been through shit.
Yeah.
But not everything's a trauma. You know?
It's trauma if it's still affecting you to this day, though. That's trauma.
But I don't, because it's like being the weak little kid. That's why I joined the military and all that shit, right? Like,
even when we have solutions for, you know, those things, there's still some kind of traumatic effect. The invisible thing, that's trauma. That's abandonment. I have abandonment issues because my parents would leave me at my grandma's house and I just watch TV.
I don't know. I don't really have a lot to complain about because it's like,
I'm not saying you have to complain about it. I'm just saying, all I'm saying is it could be something worthy to look into.
Yeah.
That's all I'm just saying. That's just a short answer that I'm trying to like bring across to you. That could be helpful, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know what I tell myself over and over when I was here? I was like, every day, every second I said, what she went through was fucked up. And I didn't believe a word of it. But I was like, I have to admit to myself that this is fucked up and convince myself for me to even begin to open the door. Because all I was doing was staring at the door.
But what about the people that, because I would rather downplay my shit.
Why?
Than overplay.
No, but here's the thing. I downplayed it so much to the point where it almost led me to fucking hanging myself. Like, it affected everything that I was doing in adulthood. Mm-hmm. Every decision I was making stemmed from that fucking thing. And I didn't even realize it until I kept saying, what she went through was fucked up. No, what she went through was fucked up. Because we joke around too. Yeah. We use humor as I'm a fucking stand-up comedian too. And you do like your, you know, social media, humor, all that. That helps people, but it can hurt us if we don't look into that other stuff, if we're not careful. And that led me to just downplaying everything to the point where I wouldn't even know or admit when I did feel fucked up or when something would happen to me. I'm like, no, it's not a big deal. But it was a big fucking deal.
You just don't want to be an inconvenience to people, though.
I didn't want to be an inconvenience. Yeah. But now, the way I am now, I can admit it's fucked up, but not get attached to where it's like, oh, what was me? There's a difference between admitting, like you said, acknowledging your emotions, acknowledging that you feel a certain way, looking into why, but then not like being so like, oh God, this is the reason why. But then going deeper, the whole like invisible thing, that's a common. Look, we might have just met, but like I've talked to enough people and I've done enough of this shit to where like it's clear to me that it's something very worthy to look into. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like the proof is in the pudding. All the examples you're giving me, it just everything is under that umbrella of that invisible kid who was fucking like neglected, which ties in with abandonment issues. You know, you weren't left on a fucking picnic basket at like a white lady's house. You know, it's not like that, but it's still a fucking thing. That's what I'm saying. I had to say every day, over and over, what she went through was fucked up. Which I was sitting on that fucking couch just for like 12, 13 hours a day. I wasn't doing shit besides watching Netflix, and because I was just trying to be like, okay, just focus on this. Don't think about you having to be an entrepreneur and make all this money and blah, blah. Figure this shit out. So I kept saying, what she went through was fucked up. What she went through was fucked up. No, it was fucked up. It was fucked up. Over and over and over and over and over. And I don't know, thousands of times until I actually started to believe it enough to look into it. If I didn't, I'm telling you, I would not be here talking to you today. And it's because of David Cho and David Chang's podcast. Two people that look like me, that are Korean, that are fucking in their 40s, doing what we deem to be successful.
Yeah.
Right? That's just what I'm saying, man. Yeah.
No, I think I just tied it to like something that did happen to me. I think it's just like getting misjudged, I think has always been something that hit hard for me.
Like misunderstood for who you really are.
Yeah, to the point where it's like when people think I'm like I don't want to say bad person because it's just like so vague. I just get misjudged, whether it's by physical appearance or like someone without knowing me or knowing my story, knowing what I did or why I did things. They just make an assumption about me. And then it turns into like other people thinking about me a certain way. And then, okay, so perfect example was like this girl and we, for years, she was cordial with me, but I didn't know that behind my back, she had basically been saying like things like I was a creep.
Did you date this person?
No, nothing like that. And that like I was a weird guy or whatever. Okay. And then we got, by fucking some odd ass chance, got matched up for like this blind dating thing that it wasn't like an actual date, but it's like, do you know what Kyrie is?
No.
It's okay. So like in some of the UCs or like the colleges, like they have like this group called Kyrie where it's a bunch of like Catholic Asians or just Catholic people in general. Yeah. And so like we were doing this thing where we buy raffles and we all like write down like, oh, what will we do on a date or whatever. And then like it was like the reverse, that like girls would put down what a date they would kind of like do for a guy, and then we would just like put our like thing in. But it wasn't actually like romantic date. It was just purely like within the group of like friends or whatever, just for fun. Fucking, I put down a raffle that was her thing. So like she had to take me out to lunch for this thing. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I heard that like, because some of the other girls thought of me a certain way.
Because of her. Yeah.
Girls that did not fucking know me.
Yep.
And then after getting to know me, they were like, he's not at all what she said. And I was like, what do you mean? What did she say? And then I'm coming to find out like the things she had said behind my back. And so like we're getting mad. I'm like, hey, can I be honest with you? Like, and so we talked about it. And we both started like crying. Like we had a heart to heart where she was like, I'm so sorry. Like I'm totally misunderstood. Like this and that. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like look, like you guys, like I know we just met, but like I do care about you guys. Like, you know. And so like we had a heart to heart and like she apologized and whatnot. But it was like frustrating because it was like, what the fuck? Like all these people thought of me a certain way. I hadn't done anything to them. They didn't even know me. And they just had like these preconceived notions. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why?
Yeah, like what did I do?
What did I do to deserve?
Yeah.
And this is pissing me off because this sounds like a huge pity party to me right now.
No, it's not. It's not.
But like, I feel like it is. So I'm just like trying to.
No, keep going.
A lot of my life has been proving people wrong. Not in like a way of like you doubted me. I'm going to fucking make it. So I'm going to prove you wrong. Fuck all my haters. Like, no, not in that aspect. Like, it's a lot of, like, when I was in Sudan, like, all right, so Murph is this giant, like, 200 pound something black dude. I'm just like 170 pounds of just like a pretty, like, at the time, like, it's funny because I thought I was fat as fuck at the time, but like I looked back at photos and I had like abs, so I was just like, wow. Body dysmorphia
to the max.
Finest. No one, by first glance, I've been told I look like a fuckboy.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
And I'm like, trust me, I wish I fucking was. Like, after this, I was just like, I just want to be fucking heartless so bad. I just don't have it in me. I don't fucking have it in me. And I know that it's good that I don't, but it doesn't change the fact that, like, there would be a lot less fucking pain if I was heartless. And, like, I think part of me knows I kind of look like a fuckboy because I make it a point to not look like the opposite of whatever the fuck that you want to call that. Because that's what I was always seen as growing up.
A simp.
Yeah, a simp or a nice guy, whatever.
Weak.
Yeah, and like I think there's like people need to understand, like, being a nice guy is not bad. It's being a pushover that's bad. Like, if you're a pushover, then yeah, you need to
make some boundaries, man.
Make some fucking, like, grow a pair, you know. But no one knew that, like, I was the second strongest on the team, or no one knew that, like, I was the ops chief. If you were to look at our team on the first glance, you would not think that I was one of, like, the fucking hard hitters of the team or whatever. I just look like a weak ass Asian kid from LA.
The military team. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, I kind of like I guess, like, part of me took pride in that because it's like, oh, I'm just going to prove you. I'm like, I love proving people wrong in that aspect. Because it's like, but it's also stems from a place of, like, it's a double-edged sword because here's what I see other people thinking of me. And so I have to prove people wrong, but it sucks because, like, you still understand, like, okay, this is what people think of me. And, like, what people think of you is not always the greatest, you know? Like, so again, it's like, okay, I'm seen as, like, this weak fucking guy, but no one has any idea that, like, no one would think I'm the second strongest on the team because there's a bunch of big ass fucking dudes on the team, you know? Or, like, no one would think I'm, like, one of the fastest or, like, whatever, you know? It's like in my life, there's always been a lot of, like, proving people wrong in a good way. But at the same time, it takes its toll because it's like, why do I always get, misjudged? You know? Like, why is it that people think of me this way when they don't know me? And now it's like, I always have to, like, show that, like, okay, not what you think I am, but it's still annoying. I don't mind doing it, but it's still annoying to constantly have to, like, prove that I'm not the piece of shit or whatever kind of person that everyone thinks I am.
So you feel like you have to, like, you really care what people think, even if they're not even close to you. Like, you really do care about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know I shouldn't, and I always tell people you shouldn't. But doesn't change, like, I hate to say it, but social media actually helped me with my self-image.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I think it's bad if you rely on or are dependent on it, but that external validation has its place. Because for me, I think growing up, I, like, didn't get a lot of that external validation.
You weren't getting, like, the accolades. You weren't like, hey,
I wasn't that I like you for being you, shredded, like, white guy or whatever. And, like, not to sound racist, it's just like the school I went to just had a lot of white people. Yeah. But my personality was always, like, my personality wasn't the issue. It was.
It's the way, dude. It's because we're Asian. Let's just face the fucking facts. There's a reason why we work out. There's a reason why you got tattoos. There's a reason why that.
Yeah, I try to break every stereotype.
Exactly. So we had to show people, hey, like, I'm at least worthy of you not fucking with me for just being Asian.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had to do that too with my stand-up shit. Like, people just weren't fucking with me because there's more Asians now, but when I was starting to do it,
now it's like all about embracing,
especially because of the Stop Asian Hate thing. But I haven't been doing stand up that long, but for real though, even just a couple years ago, it was just so white dominated. I didn't even know there were this many Asians doing it. I didn't meet them until recently. I was by myself, and I had to be like, you know what? You're not fucking with me, then I'll fucking show you. I'll get so good, you're gonna have to recognize me. I'll fucking show you, because you don't even want to. Because people would just like treat me like high school. Like, I'll be, hey, what's up, man? 8 times I meet them, they go, look away. Yeah, what's up? They would just I'm like, what the fuck did I do? And then I took it personally, but after a while I was like, you know,
that's been a big learning lesson, or a lesson learned, is like, you gotta like, because like everything that we talked about today, it's like, okay, but it's not personal. Yeah, it's a them thing. It's a them thing mixed with, maybe they also felt like they had to do that as stand-up comedians, because there's like a weird thing where it's like, oh, you got to show up late to prove, like, if you show up late to a show, that means you're a professional. It's like, no, you're fucking not. Or like, if you get too excited to meet people, you're a fucking like simp pussy. It's like, that's the dumbest fucking thing that these idiots copy. And I started copying them after a certain point, a few like months in, because I thought that meant I was a stand-up comedian. And I hated myself, because I was like, why am I acting like I'm better than people? And why am I going against my true nature of friendliness and wanting to befriend people and being, and like, you know, fun, cool. Yeah. Just because I feel like that's a thing? Fuck that. So I decided from that point on, I'm going to do it completely my way, even if that means I'm alone doing this for the rest of my life. But that's when things started to change, you know, like starting to say, you know, fuck how these people think, I'm going to do me. And then the ones that are being disrespectful now, because they see me, I started to make a rise. And I still got a long way to go, but me living my fucking truth and my authenticity, doing it my fucking way, now they're still stuck in the same place. And now they're like, hey man, I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, I'm still cordial with them, but I know.
I'm too nice to
and I don't hold grudges.
Yeah, but it's still like, it's frustrating, because, you know, if the table, the fucking rules were reversed, like, you wouldn't get the same treatment.
Oh fuck no. Yeah. And it almost makes you want to.
It makes you want to give in and be like, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, but like, then
it doesn't do anything.
Then you're just like, you're like everybody else. Then, so 100%. It's like, you got to not. But it's funny, because, you know, Asian guys actually do the worst on dating apps.
Oh yeah, Asian guys and black women. It's statistically fucking proven, man.
That's literally why I fucking hate dating apps.
That's why I deleted everyone. Because as soon as I have that, within like a minute of swiping, I already feel so horrible about myself.
I can't, because like, I think like for me, like, let's be real here, dating apps for the most part, you're gonna make that judgment. Like, looks matter on dating apps, and like, looks is not where I fucking excel. Like, I think I have like, my better qualities are the intangible ones, but you don't know that on a dating profile, you know? Like, you wouldn't know anything about me if you were to look at my dating profile. And plus, then I found out like most guys lie about their height. I didn't know that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that most girls look at your height and take 2 inches off. I had no fucking idea, because I just put 5'9", because that's my height. Yeah. And my friend's like, dude, just put like 5'10". Like, you can round up. I'm like, no, the whole point is like, because you see those videos, like, find a guy that does all 5. And it's like, nice, this, like, tall, lies about their age, whatever the fuck, right? Lies about their, or doesn't lie about their height. I take pride in not fucking doing the 5 things, you know, like not actually falling into that category. But then if I lie about my height, then I lie about my height. Then I'm one of those, like, then I'm just like every other guy. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know what, like, fuck that. Like, I haven't been on dating apps in like months.
Good. That shit's poison.
I don't even remember the last time I was on it. But it also fucks with my head, because like, okay, I don't want to sound like a fucking asshole, but the dating app thinks I'm a fucking 2 or something, based upon like, I'm just gonna say this: the girls I get are not my type. Yeah. To put it frankly. So I'm just like, man, this is what the dating app thinks, that like.
But even if you know that, it still lowers your self-worth.
Yeah. So I'm just I'm just, fuck this. Like, I know that like I can, like, people always ask like, what's your game? What's your like game plan with like girls? And like, when you go to the bars, and like, I'll be honest, man, like, dude, my game is no game. Like, my game is the fact that, like, in my head, I don't think the girl wants to fucking flirt or have anything to do with me in the first place. So I don't give off thirst vibes because I'm literally just, like, making genuine conversation.
But that's how it should be. Like, because you're being so just chill.
Yeah,
that's
like, I'm not. Yeah, because, like, in my head, I'm like, no, she wouldn't find me attractive in the first place, you know? But, like, obviously that's a double-edged sword because that's like then it's like you lose the potential matches. Like, I found out my trip to the UK when I went like a couple of years ago. I visited my buddy that was in the embassy there. I went to like partying, and like there were 2 girls I like had massive crushes on at the bar because all the Americans go to this one bar in London, and come to find out they both liked me, but because I thought that they were way out of my league.
Oh man,
went way the fuck over my head. Actually, like the one girl kissed me on the cheek, and
you still made some weird,
legit. Like I was in my head because we were making genuine conversation. Like you could tell when I could tell like she was not talking to me the way she talked to other guys. Like. And I'm not saying like, oh, she was all over me there. Like what I was saying was like what we were talking about is not bar talk. She was talking about other guys and how like they're like, she's taller. She was a taller girl, but she was like, yeah, like a lot of guys like don't care about girls or don't like taller girls. And like I work out, but I guess like a lot of guys get like insecure. I was like, dude, honestly, like fuck that shit. Like I told her like strong women intimidate boys, but excite men.
Dude, that right there. I imagine the girl hearing that, and all she's like, "My pussy's wet."
Yeah, way to keep it fucking wholesome there.
No, but that was a perfect thing you said because it was genuine too, and she knew that.
No, yeah, because I wasn't hitting on her though. Like, don't get me wrong, she was fucking hot.
Yeah,
but that's why I was like,
but that's what made you stand out. But that's what made you stand out because you were treating her like a fucking person. You were connecting.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. But like, and that's why like it's frustrating because like I come home and like I find out from like a lot of my girlfriends, girl space friends, in case like someone gets that fucking twisted.
Homegirls.
Yeah, homegirls. Found out from a lot of my homegirls that like, dude, guys do some fucked up shit.
Oh, hell
at like bars and shit. I'm
like,
what the fuck? Who the fuck? Like,
it's majority guys, man.
That's what I'm coming to realize. I'm like, so that's what made me realize. Okay, so I'm not a piece of shit, you know?
No.
But doesn't change the fact that like I still don't think of myself as like, oh, I'm one of like the better. Like I don't, because I think once you start thinking that, you are on your way down a slippery slope, you know?
To a certain point.
To a certain point. Not like, I'm not saying like don't be confident or like don't think of yourself as a good person, but like the moment you start thinking like you are above others, that's where it can get a little
as
slippery.
long as it's not I'm better than them, it's I'm just the shit.
Yeah.
Always.
Or I'm as good as other people.
Yeah.
As good as, not it, you know.
Maybe not even that for me. Okay, actually, yeah, that if it's like, oh, this person's like a Brad Pitt looking motherfucker, be like, he may be like that, but still, just because he looks like that doesn't mean that I'm not able to.
Fuck that. If it's like Ryan Reynolds, I'm like, yeah, that dude's better. That guy's better than me for sure.
Yeah, but like for me, I've trained my brain to the point where even if I logically understand that as like a thing, like I don't care anymore. And that was another thing that was hard for me to retrain. But like I literally, every time a girl that was like really hot was into me, I was like, there's no way in hell she was into me. Even if I fucked her, I was like, there's no way she's into me. Like honestly, no, I would. She'd be sucking my dick, and I'm like, why is she sucking this broke dick? I'm like, she's not really into me.
That was funny because like, so one of my homegirls that I met on the trip was next to me when I was talking to this girl the entire time, and
she's observing.
Yeah. And basically, like, she was like, oh, you know, like, dude, the girl literally, I'm like looking back, and I was like, I'm a fucking idiot. So hey, for all the guys out there, like, hey, don't give yourself a little bit more credit. Actually, I shouldn't say that because some of y'all out there are pieces of shit.
Yeah. You need to work on yourself.
You got to do some soul searching.
Pervert.
Yeah. Dude, she had kissed me on the cheek. We had to kiss each other on the cheek for a photo because the photographer guy came along, and he was like, "Oh, will you kiss the girl on the cheek?" I was like, yeah, sure, okay." So like, I kissed her on the cheek for the photo, and then she kissed me. She was like, "Oh, one more," but like, now her turn. I was like, "Okay." She was like, "I was like, you really don't have to." And she's like, "No, it's fine. Like, I want to." I was like, I thought she was just being nice. But yeah. So and then as we were talking, she's like, "You know, you're literally like one of the most attractive guys at the bar. In my head, first of all, like if a girl ever told me that, I'm not gonna believe you. No, like I'm not fishing for like. Look, when I put myself down, like people don't understand. I'm not fishing for compliments. This is just like what I think of myself.
Because you're not gonna believe the compliments anyways.
Yeah, I'm not, and like, I appreciate your compliment.
That's a real put down.
But I'm not gonna believe you. But she was like doing the whole like, you know, like putting her hand on my shoulder and like that thing. And she was like, oh, you know, you're like one of the most attractive guys at the bar. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And then I just like continue on the conversation. Because I told her, I was like, oh, thanks. Like, you know, you're really attractive. So like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, you shouldn't like fuck these guys that tell you otherwise, you know? Yeah. Like, dude, she was like tall brunette girl, like clearly like fit and like piercing. Those eyes would have pierced your fucking soul. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. So after she said that, I was just kind of like, okay, well, like, you know, like, I really hope you, you find what you're looking for. Like, you know, have a good night. So I kissed her on the cheek, and cause that boundary had already been crossed. And I literally like, I was like, I'll see you around. I went back to my homegirl.
Like a man pat? See you around?
No. I put my hand on her like lower back.
Oh, just a little bit.
Like that, at that point, that boundary had been crossed already.
For sure. Yeah.
So I was just, but I wasn't like creepy about it. I was just like, hey, like have a good night.
Yes.
And I walked away back to my homegirl, which was like 3 feet away. Mm-hmm. And like, I didn't know this. She told me after the fact, but like the girl apparently had made like a kind of like a surprise face and like walked away. And my homegirl was like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, dude, that girl clearly like liked you. You should have like, she would have fucking like, I was like, she was like, dude, that, okay. Like, I'm not going to say, I'm just going to say what she said. She was like, that girl would have taken you home. Like, I don't why, what the fuck happened? And I was like, no, I think she was just being nice. Like, and she was like, no, I heard the entire conversation and I'm a girl. Like, why the fuck did you get that? I was just like, no, like, I think she was just like a really nice girl. She was just being nice. And she was like, oh my fuck, you're so oblivious. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. And so I was just like, fuck, idiot. And then another girl on the trip had a crush on me and I didn't know. And because she made no signs whatsoever. But I found out later that she was just being a good friend because her friend liked me. And so it's like, yo, I was like, what? Like, and my friend kind of explained this to me. He's like, because my friend was hooking up with her friend, one of her other friends, because they were like in a big group. And she was like, dude, think about it, man. If I liked a girl, would you like actively make moves on the girl? I was like, oh, fuck no. He's like, okay, well, that's why she didn't make any moves on you. I was like, but you know, the self-image thing really is fucking me over right now.
But also, you know why too? It's because of your brain is wired to a point where you wouldn't even see the subtle signs. Because even when they try to pretend,
yeah, you can hold a sign up that says I like you, and I will just,
you still wouldn't believe it.
I wouldn't, because
you don't think you're good enough.
Yes, actually, so did a trip.
Oh, okay, a trip. Traveling trip.
Oh, wink.
Far distance away.
Back in the day, I did a trip. And actually, I'm really excited because I'm going to see a couple of them this weekend. But I'm not used to being the focus of the conversation. I like being there for people because that's what I've always wanted and needed, is to have someone there for me, I guess. But in the times that I really needed it, that was when I felt the loneliest, and I didn't have that. So that's why it means a lot to me when someone like comes to me or like goes to me for that kind of emotional support. And so on this trip,
far distance
trip, I was the focus and I did not fucking like it. I was like, can we not, like, why are you guys why does my fucking problems matter to you guys? Like, we just met. Like, why does my shit matter? Like, we're all going through shit, you know, like let's talk about someone else, you know? And it's not that like I have a hard time being vulnerable, because like I think you've already seen, like, I'm a pretty fucking open about it. But as you know, on these trips, you tend to see your life a little bit more for how it is, and like the things that like kind of not control you, but like have subtly dug their claws in. And I realized on that trip, like, dude, one girl, dude, bless her fucking soul, she was crying because like she was like, you're so fucking hard on yourself, and she was like crying because of like, you know how when you're on a trip, like you can kind of feel people's emotions. Yeah. So like, yeah, so like she was crying for me essentially. Wow. And I started bawling because then I realized like the term like I'm not good enough has controlled my fucking life. That is why I have done almost everything that I've done. Like that's why I joined the Marines, like so I could be enough for people. And then it's like, and then something will happen that will validate that I'm not enough. And then like, so it's like, okay, I gotta have to do more shit to prove that like that I'm just enough to be accepted. Despite the fact that like I know that I'm accepted by a lot of people, but for whatever fucking reason, like I'm not accepted.
It's because you don't accept yourself.
Yeah. Even though I know objectively that like I'm a good person or whatever, I know I'm not okay. Like I know I'm not atrocious to look at, but that's about the extent of like how I hold myself as far as like physical appearance. Like I know I'm not like I know okay. Like I'm again. I mean, there's no one here to give me compliments anyway, so like I don't have to worry about that. But like people think I'm like fishing for compliments when I put myself down. It's like no,
dude. I'm gonna be real, man. You put yourself down to the point where I'm like, it's because I know you're not.
But if I put myself down, no one
can put you down.
Yeah.
So it's a preemptive strike.
Yeah.
That's a defense mechanism.
It's a defense
from
mechanism.
childhood that you had, which is trauma. You see, no, hey, you can't argue against that.
Yeah, that's good. All right, that was good.
This is why I was being, listening, and
yeah. That's good.
You can't argue against that, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd rather put myself down than like others. You know what I mean?
Okay, stop doing that. Okay, stop saying that. You keep justifying why you put yourself down.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's justifying.
No, stop. Fuck everybody. We're not talking.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus Christ, man. I feel for you.
Yeah, I do. Because it's like, man, like on TikTok and stuff, like I put myself down all the time.
I thought it was just like sus stuff. I haven't seen all your stuff. I just seen them.
That's
like,
okay. No, that's cool. Well, no, yeah, I do sus stuff too. But it's like, I mean, that's just because like in the military, we just fucking.
No, I do sus stuff. It's funny.
Like
I don't give a fuck.
There's a saying. There's nothing gayer than a straight Marine.
Oh, dude, every fucking Marine friend I have.
Yeah. 99% of your viewers, I've probably seen more dick than them.
And you know what?
Yeah, hundreds.
I've had my dick touched by so many Marines. Like just do my pants or just grab it. Let me see your dick. I'm like, what? No, they would just grab it.
What? Okay, I don't know about that.
No, they would grab it just out of nowhere. They're like, hey, and they'd run off and they just do that. But they have girlfriends and shit. Yeah. They just don't give a fuck.
All right, I haven't hit that yet. So maybe you're a little bit more well-versed there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'd be like, man, why you do it? And then I'm like, man, stop fucking touching my dick. And they did it so much to the point where I'm like, I expect it to happen every maybe once every month or once every, especially if they're drinking and they'll run off. And I'll be like, I won't even react because it's like, ha, and just leave.
Yeah. What were we talking? Oh, putting myself down?
Yeah, putting yourself down.
Yeah. I mean, like...
Do you do that in your videos?
Oh, yeah.
Because you think it's funny?
I think it's humorous. Yeah. I also find humor in it. Don't get me wrong.
So I don't do it purely. There's self-deprecation humor.
I think self-deprecation... Like, because it's like, man, if you take yourself too seriously, like, take a fucking joke.
100%.
Personal,
yeah.
Which is why I think it's like, I don't really get offended that easily. Like, that's not to say I don't get offended, but like, generally speaking... There's nothing that you can tell me that I haven't told myself already. Yeah. And like, even though, and like people will probably be like, oh, but why? Like you were in the military, like this and that, like you worked out, whatever the fuck. Like objective truths don't always change how like we feel about ourselves subjectively.
Yeah, dude. I know fucking like pro fighters and shit, and they got a ton. It doesn't matter. The whole like masculine image. It's like the same thing with the girl. The girl's hot, so she has great personality. No, you don't fucking know the person.
You don't fucking know, dude. I promise you do not know that fucking girl that you think that you fucking know.
The hotter they are, the worse it usually is.
Actually, it's I joke about this now. So like when I see like really hot girls on like actually no, just in general.
Yeah.
most guys are gonna be like, oh my god, she's so bad, she must be so good. In my head, my first thought is like, all right, what fucking what trauma have you not dealt with that is gonna fucking burn me hard? You know. And which sucks because it's like I still like hot girls, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like back to the whole like putting myself down thing. Like I don't. Yeah, it's a preemptive strike because that way I don't have to. Because like when people put themselves up, that's when you see people start like putting them down, which I'm not saying is a good thing, but when someone puts themselves down, like oftentimes people aren't gonna really like hop onto that unless y'all are like really close. Because don't get me wrong, like my close friends and I, we'll roast the fuck.
How do you react to compliments? What do you do?
I get pretty uneasy.
So what do you say? You just start justifying. You start like giving like
I'll just be like,
downplaying.
Oh, like stop, like please. No, like my friend Justin or like or my friend Jason will like, dude, they'll always like grab my arms and be like, oh bro, I'm like, dude, just fucking stop.
Yeah.
Because I'm like really insecure about like my physical like stature or whatever the fuck. So like when someone like dude, like someone compliments my muscles, I get weirded the fuck out because I'm like. Also, I've been around like super shredded, like just fucking the Greek god physiques, you know? Yeah. So it's like, I don't compare. That's why I don't post fitness. Like people are always like, why don't you post fitness? Why the fuck would I? Like in my head, you know? Like, because like, I don't look like I'm not fucking, and I know most of the fitness industry is on like some type of gear. Like I get it. But like, dude, I do not have a six pack or any of that shit. So like, why the fuck? I would just be a laughing stock if I made fitness content, you know? Like, I'm serious. That's why I don't make fitness content.
Who's gonna laugh at you? I mean, there might be some haters, but people would appreciate that.
Like, it's the same reason. Like, I don't fucking make like thirst traps for that reason as well. If I had a six pack and like it was like super shredded, maybe. I don't think. But even then, probably I wouldn't.
That's not your personality.
That's just not who I am.
Yeah, and that'd be weird.
Yeah, I'm like.
I don't like when guys. I think it's so weird when guys do thirst trap TikTok.
But like, I low key, I look at it, dude. This sounds so sus. Yeah. I look at guy thirst traps more than girl thirst traps.
Yeah.
Because like a girl, it's like, all right, it's just another hot chick on TikTok, like whatever. You look at the comments and you're just like disappointed in the fucking in our gender, you know, and you're just like, God damn, like what the fuck are these dudes thinking? You know, but then like you see a dude, I'm just like, that dude's fucking shredded. Like, God, I wish I was like that.
It's admiring.
It's admiration.
It's admiration. Yeah. Because I'll do it too. I'll see it and I'll be like, okay. And I'll see the girl.
Damn, like I wish I could do that. You know, like I wish I could fucking make those kinds of videos, but I can't. Or okay, I'm like limiting myself there when I say I can't. I know I can, but I won't because that's just like,
dude, talking to you in this time. In just the 2 times we talked 3 times.
Yeah.
But every time got progressively deeper and deeper. Yeah.
Those are the conversations I live for, though. Like, dude, especially on social media. Like, dude, fuck these. I don't care about these superficial fucking conversations.
I hate that shit.
Like, strip away your social media. Who are you? You know?
Exactly.
Like, you see these dudes with, and girls and guys with, like, hundreds of thousands. And I'm not saying they're not. They're all, like, I've met some people with, like, a big following that are actually, like, really good people. But yeah, like I want to know who you are outside your all this superficial materialistic shit. You know? Yeah. And it's like, but I can't expect that if I'm not willing to give it either. True. Also, I don't consider my social media something that I actually have because my following is fucking like nothing. So it's like, well, I don't have social media to like. I don't know if that makes sense.
And look, the people that follow us at our following right now. There's a reason why every single one of them are still there. Even when we put up like crazy content, you know? Yeah. Because they fuck with us for a reason. And a lot of them can see beyond just like the sus jokes or that. There's a thing about, you know, you and I that make them, that they find endearing, that makes them want to stay loyal, you know? And
yeah, it's not the content, it's the person.
Yeah. So that's a testament to, you know, just who we are as like it can sound douchey like, oh, that's it. No, but it is because we're putting ourselves out there. Yeah, that in itself is a very scary thing to do for constant judgment.
Yeah, I think, and then like, but to us it's like no big deal.
Well, for me, it took a very long time.
No, don't get me wrong. Yeah, me too. But I'm saying now it's
not
making videos. It's like I'm not like I'm putting myself out there because like other people are like that's hard, like putting yourself out there. I was like, yeah, like, but I understand because at one point I was like that's why I wasn't on social media. That's why I didn't, because I was like I can't make it as a fucking social media person, you know. But now it's like, okay, making it, becoming somebody, quote unquote, by society standards is a tangible possibility now. It's not a pipeline dream. So now it's like, okay. And that's why I don't mind, I guess, like being not, not thinking that, like I'm not good enough or whatever, because I know there's kids out there that think that too. And I know those are the ones that oftentimes have the most to offer because they don't think they're good enough. So they're doing everything they possibly can to just be accepted by the people around them. And it's like, okay, and it's like, okay, that's how I think. So if I can make it, then I can get to like those kids, you know? But like, and you know, I've talked about this, I think no one gives a fuck what your story is unless you're somebody, you know? And that's why like right now I'm just playing the game, the social media game, you know, or whatever.
Actually, I'm going to disagree with you on that.
What?
People do give a fuck
What your story is.
Yeah.
And despite or
that's what helped me grow my following more because of that. It was a mixture of, you know, the comedy stuff, the skit stuff, and then me just being fucking honest as shit, putting my insecurities out there, in a serious manner, in a very serious manner. Like, this is my favorite.
It makes more of it's a bigger impact when it's like
to a greater amount of people.
To when people think that it's they're just like.
But also, you have to realize, the people that look at us, and my friends put this in a perspective that don't do it. They reminded me that, dude, even where we're at now, there's people that look at us, especially the younger generation, because this is their fucking thing.
Yeah,
you know, we're not comparing, but you know what I mean. There's a level where they really are like, yo, what Saint says is like,
it's the fucking law.
It's the law.
He said Panda Express is for losers, so I don't want to eat it anymore. I'm not fucking stupid.
Are you a little bitch? But we do have like sway. We do have influence in a way that can really help people. Like for you, you know, pouring your heart out on this podcast is going to help a lot of people that do follow you and going to make them appreciate you more for even doing that. Because how many people talk like that do they want to hide it to seem strong?
I can guarantee you there's probably one or two people going to be pissed off by what I just said there. by the fact that I did open up about that shit.
Yeah, but you didn't say no names. Nobody knows who the hell you're talking about.
I know.
You know,
but like they're going to see it and be like, how could you fucking do this? Like, how dare you? And it's like, man.
Unapologetically you, baby. Fuck that shit, man.
No, because I'll still feel bad.
You know, you will feel bad. But that's part of it. Feeling bad, but
not
acknowledging it and just being like, it's me.
Yeah, but it's like, I think it's objectively looking at the situation. It's like most people believe the girl or think that the girl is the one that like.
Most people are always going to believe the girl.
Yeah.
That's just kind
they
of.
They never think that like especially unless you fucking been through it. Like they never think that the hot girl is going to be the one that like puts the guy through like some shit.
Because the hot girl puts out an image of herself. That's what my ex would do. She would just, I would tell them crazy stories of her, like almost like running over people. She almost like broke my foot. It's a whole long story about my car. I don't know, whatever. She just really did some crazy things where my life was on the line, and they still chose her side because they're like, they wouldn't believe me because what she presents is, I'm just calm. This is just me. So and she's hot, so they can't.
Yeah.
You know, which was like. Which already showed me, well, if you don't even want to believe me, then that shows me that you're not my friend. Like,
which means their intentions were a little different than what you thought they were originally.
Yeah, exactly. From the get. So I always felt that they would hang out with me just because I was just happened to be there, just like readily accessible at times. I never really felt like they really fucked with me, and then that was right. And also, you know, what you were saying here is you weren't talking shit. You didn't come on here to like say people's names, put them down, and to make enemies.
But they will definitely think that like I did. It's like you can't. That's the hard part. It's like even if you do the right thing, like man, you cannot fucking.
You can't make everybody happy, man. There's always going to be people that get mad at you, even when I made
but
videos.
I want to. Like I want, because I know what it's like not to be cared about.
Yeah, but here's
I don't want anyone to ever think that like.
But look, man,
I don't want to be the reason for that pain for everybody.
I've even made videos where I'm like trying to help the Asian community, and thousands were like, yes, and just as many were like, you fucking traitor, you racist to Asians.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What'd you say?
There's like a bunch of other things I've done. Like one of them was, Asian men, stop blaming Asian girls for like fucking dating white guys. Like stop the victim mentality. Level up. Like,
I can't
like
say
level
shit because like I'm totally into white girls.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking to Asian guys blaming Asian women and blaming society for being like oh, the stereotypes, dude. That's just a fact. We can't change that.
I mean, your preference is your preference, man.
No, but I'm going beyond that. My point of the video was stop blaming the world. That was a small part of it. Stop blaming the world for how they view you and how it's like affecting your life, and fucking get better. And I said the Bruce Lee quote, don't pray for an easier life, pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. And that's how I live my fucking life. And that's made me stronger. I appreciate those challenges because that makes me be able to handle more shit than that other guy who didn't have to go through that shit. Maybe that like random white guy who's been super attractive his whole life.
People that are pampered are like soft. You know, it's like don't ask for a heavier load. Like don't ask for pain, but ask for the strength to like deal with it.
But do you know how many Asian dudes got mad at me? Like I got hundreds, thousands of comments.
I was in a predominantly like Caucasian neighborhood.
Yeah,
which is probably where my preference for. I mean, now being back in America, now I'm like, okay, I actually don't care about like not that I ever like was discriminatory. I was never discriminatory. It's more now. It's just like okay, like I don't.
You just want a nice girl that holds herself accountable.
Emotional stability would be pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I've never. When I say I like white girls, I don't mean like because people are gonna be like, oh my god, that's so racist. Like,
who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I mean now it's just like I don't care because like low key there is like this Asian girl that I'm like I think is cute, but at the same time it's just like. I think for me, it's just like, okay, if you're attractive, you're attractive. Your fucking race doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. But I'm trying to like figure out how to like word what I said earlier because someone's going to take that out of context and be like, what the fuck?
You just care more about like even more what the personality is all you're saying as much as like physical attraction still matters. But
yeah. Personality. Okay. I'll say this about the whole like Caucasian girl thing. It's at one point that was like my type because I rejected everything Asian about me. So it's like to show that I was different. Yeah. I had to have a white girlfriend. You know what I mean? And but that obviously like changed a long ass time ago. Like now,
a lot of Asian guys go through that.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty normal thing. I've come to learn like that's a pretty normal thing though.
Yes, self,
because you crave the attention of the people that rejected you. And, or at least like that was my instance.
No, that's very true.
Yeah, because like all the girls that friend zoned me were they were Asian too, but the ones that hurt the most were the Caucasian ones, and I was just like,
it's for ego purposes of the past to make up. Like, no, I'll prove to you, motherfuckers.
Yeah, like I'm good enough for a white girl, you know. But that's such a stupid way to think, you know. Like I'm pretty ashamed of like myself for thinking that way.
I did that too.
You know,
I did that too, man.
But yeah,
it's very common,
especially if you're like a westernized Asian guy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the fucking pot of gold, the top of the mountain, Gotta get
that Delta Gamma like sorority girl or whatever.
You just want to walk around holding her hand just so people say like, yeah, that Asian guy, he's got it.
He's got it. Exactly.
That's it. It's not like, dude, they're so good together. It's just, oh yeah, he's got it.
Her boyfriend's Asian. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I learned, man, it's so stupid because it's like I really thought that like I was so ashamed of being Asian. Like, you know, had to do everything to show that like I was a different Asian.
Yeah. I listen to metal.
Yeah. Well, go to college? Yeah. How about no? You know,
fuck school.
Yeah, fuck school. Idiots. Not really though. Like I'm going to school now. I will say though that like college degree is a fucking check in the box. It's not what it used to be. Like when our parents went to college, like it meant something then.
It led to a job.
Yeah. Now it's like, because it's like, because everyone goes to fucking college. Like, okay, know what you want to fucking do in life. First of all, like if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, you're gonna have to go to college. But like, not all careers need a college degree, and like going to like this thought that you have to be a student your entire life is actually no, you are a student your entire life. but in the academic aspect of like having to go through purely through education, because like man, like I value intellect a lot more than education, because your degree doesn't mean shit if you don't know how to apply that knowledge, you know.
Of course, yeah.
And fuck, I forgot where I was going with this. Like, military wasn't for everybody. Military is not for everybody, but it was for me. If I had gone to college right after high school, I would probably have dropped out. I was not mentally mature enough to handle that any college education by myself, because it wasn't. And like that's where like my parents and I fought the most. Like, it's not that I'm dumb. Like, I tested well. Like, I got like a 2150 on the SAT. But my GPA was like a 2.5, you know, like just doesn't fucking add up, right? And it's just like at the time I just didn't care about school, but now it's like, okay, like now after being in the military, it's like, okay, like you get that discipline of like, okay, you need to go to school, you need to do everything for the right reason. If you're going just to please your parents, like not everything always goes to plan when you do that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and then they die, and then you look at your life like, oh my God, who am I? And then you put a rope around your neck, like I was gonna do. Okay. No, but for real, guys, you gotta do. Totally. You really have to start living for yourself and be selfish as fuck, because the whole living for your parents thing. Oh, we came to this country for you. No, you didn't, motherfucker. You didn't even know I was gonna come out. You thought you were gonna have a daughter.
There's a level of maturity that comes when you realize that your parents are just people.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, oh, they're my mom, so they have to act this way.
It's like your
my
mom,
dad has to act this way. No, if you look at them as just
they're just people with their own fucking problems and and whatnot, you know. And like I have like a little tongseng, like a little sister. Everyone thinks we're dating, so it's like we're not. She's like my little sister, but like I'm not gonna go. It's not my business to tell, so I'm not gonna go too into it. But like, I would like to have a conversation with her parents to like be better, you know, because like the same way I'm saying that, like, you know, one day you're gonna realize that, like, you come to a point where like you realize your parents are just people. That doesn't change the fact that like your parents have a fucking responsibility to be a certain way for you.
True.
You know, and it's like this whole emotional unavailability thing. I forgot what the post exactly said, but like this whole thing about like being emotionally unavailable is not cool. Like, there's nothing cool about neglecting and not caring for the people you have a responsibility to fucking care for, you know, to like throw. And some people are like, oh, like, yeah, like it's better not to just be completely unattached. It's like, no, man, like, I'm not saying for everybody, but like if you're in a relationship or something and like it is someone that you are supposed to fucking care about, yeah, like being emotionally unavailable, you need to fucking do some soul searching. And I understand like not everyone has it in them because of like their own experiences, but if you know you're not emotionally available, like probably need to work on that and not lash out because someone says you're treating them a certain way that is tied to being emotionally unavailable, you know? And that's when I took the dick out of my mouth.
And then you said, hey.
I was like,
Brian, you have a girlfriend named Maggie. What are you doing, motherfucker?
Yeah. I think that's my new like standard. It's just like, I would like to date a girl that's emotionally mature, emotionally available, emotionally just stable. Let's go with that, you know?
But also holding ourselves accountable for like realizing why do we...
I'm not
choose certain people too, right?
Yeah, like, okay, so I know why like hot girls or whatever, and also like when I'm talking about like all this shit, like I'm not saying I'm not without flaws. I know there's someone out there like, man, who's this guy to say like all this shit? Like, don't you? Yeah, I have fucking flaws too, you know. But the reason why I feel like I have to date like a really pretty girl is because like I don't think I'm attractive. So it's like, okay, if I date a pretty girl, that means that okay,
that you're attractive.
I'm attractive, you know, which is just a shitty way to fucking think. Like, I'm well aware of that.
No, that's why I got into my last relationship for that exact reason.
And I'm not saying like I'm not saying like that is the only reason why I date girls or like. I only go for like a certain type of looking girl, but like, you know, I definitely have, I think my standards are, physical appearance wise, are like a little unfair at times, because I know that it's not like, oh, are they good enough for me? It's more like, are they good enough for other people? Like, you know, looking at me.
Yeah.
And so, which is so bad, you know. I'm not saying every girl I dated was a model, okay? Like, that's not what I mean by this, you know what I mean? But like, as far as like when I go for a girl, I guess, or that's why looks matter to me. It's not because, oh, I just need to be with a hot, like, yeah, obviously physical attraction matters, but it's like, it really is, because it's like, that validates in my head that like, okay, I'm not ugly, you know?
Yeah.
Which again, it's just like,
but you know what's good about everything you're telling me?
What?
Is that since you have such a high level of awareness on this, even though it still like drives your motivations and stuff, that means in due time, it's going to be improved.
Yeah.
That's where it always starts.
Yeah.
Because you not only can you have self-awareness of it, but you have you can also admit it. Like,
yeah, but I will also say that I'm definitely not gonna like just throw looks out the window. Like,
no, dude, the looks have to always be there, but there's like you're gonna be able to better balance all that shit. And
I
that's,
now know that I will not date a girl only for looks, because I'm gonna say 2.5 times.
Yeah.
Because I have left I've left the girls that like everyone was like, oh my god, they're so hot, like whatever. But they were the ones that like did the most on, like most guys would be like, why the fuck would you like break up with
She's
that?
so hot. Oh my god, she's a dime.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, I mean, I'll be honest, like it was really hard to like end things, you know. But now I know that like, okay, like I will not. It's good to know that like, despite my soft spot or whatever for like really hot girls, like that is no longer the fucking reason, you know. I mean, not that it ever was the only reason, but like now I know that like, I'm not gonna like tolerate
certain
shit.
Yeah.
Just because you're hot or whatever. Because like, I'm not. No, I don't want to like. Again, I don't want to paint her in a bad image, so I'm not gonna say it, because like there were some things that like she said that were just like, just fucked up. But I'm not gonna like put that out there, because you like then it's like.
No, because then it's gonna go a different road.
Yeah.
Because you told the story as is.
Yeah,
and it's good.
I don't need to start picking out the examples that, because like that's my burden to bear. You know, like that is my fucking. Shit that I have to deal with.
That's the cross on your shoulder.
Yeah.
You're not Jesus.
I don't need to put that out there, and I'm not.
You're a saint. You're a saint, but you're not. But guys, you know, the lessons to be learned in this is that, do not just fucking. You know what? Even when I say this, it doesn't matter until they learn on the hard way.
Sometimes you just gotta get burned.
Just get burned. Just get burned. Just fuck up a lot, but also try to look back on it. And even if you make the same mistake. If you made the same mistake like 5 times, look at why you made the same mistake 5 times and try to figure that out. Even if it takes 10, 20 times.
Make the pain worth it.
Make the pain worth it. Because if you don't, then you're going to, I don't know, be lying on your back with lotion in your hand, wondering like, why am I doing this again? Because she rejected me. So I have to soothe myself with this fucking baby lotion. Anyways, do you want to plug in your social medias?
That was pretty specific, but I think a lot of guys probably did relate to that. Yeah, I am Saint Yim on fucking everything. Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, even though I haven't streamed yet. But is that on? Oh, and Taco, which is another app coming out. Or that's out. Yeah. But I'm just Saint Yim on everything.
Yeah,
and eventually YouTube.
SAINTYIM. Saint
M as in Mike. Kim.
Yeah. Comedy. But guys, thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the Setbreaker Podcast. And until then, I will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Sorry I cried like a little bitch.
Don't be a bitch. Just kidding. Be a bitch for your whole life.